He was hardly wet behind the ears when Detroit got him for a go at the Stanley Cup. Coming over from Calgary, Mike Vernon looked great in his new jersey. He just didn't look as good against them. In '95, the man known for his stand-up style and stand-up comedy made a showbiz boo-boo when he let us see him sweat. The following year was downright uncivilized. One of the winningest goalies of all time, he was left pining for another shot. But then, after yet another season of despair in Detroit, this pair vowed this year would be different. Mike's got one more turn, and now starring opposite the greatest playoff goalie ever, he's one ahead. It's a long haul. When you stand up this well, retain a width that's as quick as your glove hand, it's hard not to sometimes catch yourself smiling. Tonight from Detroit Rock City, Joe Louis Arena, on the north side of the Detroit River, across from Windsor, Ontario, Colorado Avalanche, Detroit Red Wings set to collide in the game that may well determine the series. Wings up 2-1. Good evening. Welcome to Molson Hockey Night in Canada, the Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC. Kiss booming through the speakers here. I agree with Terry Wickham right here. He's the man. Where'd he go? He's sitting down there. He's the guy that said Detroit's got to win tonight to have a chance to take out the Stanley Cup champions. We know how good Mike Vernon's been in this series, a 1.77 goals against average in the playoffs. Mike hasn't had to do a lot of talking. His counterpart, greatest playoff goalie of all time, wasn't in a talking mood after the game, but sure was yesterday.
I see a difference from this year and last year, for sure. And my answer will be, we don't care what happened so far. It's what's going to happen from now and in the end of the series what matter. And it's time for us to play. Let's play. Welcome.
Adam Deadmarsh and Claude Lemieux had little choice but to leave the press conference. Patrick Roy saying it's time to put it all together. There's the big octopus here at Joe Louis Arena. One more item before we bring in Donald S. Cherry. That is, we want to address two stories. Mark Crawford said his biggest concern is, what about this guy, Vladimir Konstantinov? He said he's all over my best players. He said he's holding sticks. There's a good example of a very legal check on Peter Forsberg. He was really a big part of the Detroit defense that has shone through 3 games of the series. Mark said the other factor concerning him is the lack of finish. Here was a good opportunity set up for Eric Lacroix. He missed the net, and Mike Vernon, you can't say enough about Vernon, 28 shots he faced the other night, but the 2 best opportunities were squandered. There was the other, Adam Deadmarsh. Here's a look at the lack of firepower for the Avs. Forsberg, Kamensky, and Deadmarsh, 3 of their brightest lights, yet to provide a goal so far in the series. There's Don, what you got there?
We got an octopus right here. We have Kevin down here too, I'll tell you. You remember who we had here last year at this time? Jake Shannon. Sure. Anyhow, there's Kevin.
Kevin's a great young fan from Berkeley, Michigan. What you got there? Let's have a look at your sign. Can't beat grapes. Now, Don, this is goes without saying a huge test for Mark Crawford's team. We'll see what Colorado's made of tonight.
Well, yeah, we'll see what Detroit's made of tonight. I don't understand Colorado. They haven't played a good game yet. They have no jump. They are lucky to be up 2-1 right now, or around anyhow. But I'm telling you right now, Detroit better get them while they're asleep, because if they wake up, they go back, tied 2-2 in Colorado. Colorado's going to win the series. This should be the one tonight. I was not impressed at all with either team the last game. Both teams should have lost.
Getting set for Game 4 here at Joe Louis Arena. Let's go to the men in the broadcast booth now for a scene set. Here's Chris Cuthbert and John Garrett.
Well, Ron, after game number 3, Mark Crawford said our team's playing at about 75%, and as Ron mentioned, they need Peter Forsberg going at 100% to get the split they want here.
Well, Peter Forsberg is feeling 100%, but he's not playing at 100%. After the concussion in the Edmonton series, he seems to be trying to play the physical role, and that's all he's doing. He's not carrying the puck. He's not using his speed. He's being hit, sure, but he's concentrating on hitting back instead of carrying the puck, making plays, They don't need Peter Forsberg to be the enforcer. They need Peter Forsberg to be the goal scorer.
One of the problems may be that Forsberg and Joe Sakic are playing too much. That will change tonight. Stefan Yell is back in the lineup. A great penalty killer. Maybe not the biggest name, but John, at this time of the year, it's the unsung heroes. And on the other side for Detroit, they're getting some great work from an unsung guy who's turned Russian, at least for this series.
Well, he really hasn't in the dressing room. They're calling him Brownov because he's playing with Fedorov, Kozlov, Konstantinov, Fetisov, and he is fit right in. And it takes a guy like Doug Brown, who is a very intelligent hockey player, to adapt so quickly to a very mishmash style. And Brown has been able to do that.
All right, let's go down to Ron.
Thanks, Chris. Detroit has the crowd. Colorado now has the yell. Coming up, it's Game 4 of the Western Conference Final, live from Detroit, Michigan. The Red Wings lead the series 2-1. We'll come back and drop the puck next on Hockey Night in Canada.
Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. Brought to you by Molson Canadian. By Ford Motor Company of Canada Limited. And by 7-Up. Get clear.
Detroit's first year in the NHL, they played in Windsor at Border Cities Arena, but now you know the home is Joe Louis Arena on the opposite side of the Detroit River. Tonight, Adam Deadmarsh tries to figure out why his team isn't scoring more.
Well, it's been kind of frustrating to try and get points on the board against Detroit. They play so defensive that it is tough to score goals. But you know, we've talked about it, and we think the best thing to do is just get as many shots on net as possible. See, we're frustrated that we're not playing to what we feel we can play as a team, and I think obviously that angers a lot of us, and hopefully we can turn that around tonight.
Well, the championship medal of the Avalanche will be put to the test in Game 4 of the Western Conference Championship Series tonight. There's Patrick Roy, angry after Monday's loss, defiant in the build-up to Game 4, all but guaranteeing a win tonight, while Mike Vernon at the other end says he's having fun in this series. And he's never been better than his 27-save performance in Game 3. Paul Dvorsky's in charge tonight. Gord Brosiker, Brian Murphy are on the lines. The Colorado Avalanche have not lost 3 consecutive games in their last 167. They're trying to snap a 2-game losing streak tonight.
Paul Dvorsky, the referee in the second game of the Philly Rangers series, was criticized by the Philly management after that game for letting the players play too much. And that's his reputation. Both coaches know that, and I'm sure they've told their players that.
And yes, Dvorsky was in charge on March the 26th when the rivalry boiled over. There's a pass up for Clemmy, deflects it down into the Detroit zone. And Mike Vernon will hang on with Mike Ricci hanging around the goal mouth.
Mark Crawford, a few options with Stefan Yell back. Yves Saroux is out. But the big thing for Mark Crawford and having Stefan Yell is he can get less ice time for Peter Forsberg and Joe Sakic. He'll spell them off, get them back down into that 24-minute range instead of the 30-minute range. Defense stays the same. Eric Messier has played very well, but didn't play as much in the third period of Game 3. We'll look at Stefan Yell. Surgery on May 10th, but it was a very minor tear of the cartilage, and that's why he's back so quickly.
Injured the same night as Peter Forsberg in Game 3 of the Edmonton series. And Yell, who will play most of the time at center, sets up with Ricci and Mike Keane on a checking line against Fedorov, Kozlov, and Brown, the best line for Detroit in the third game. And of course, Kozlov with the 2 goals for the Red Wings. Fedorov hands it off to Brown, driving for the net. And Patrick Roy makes the first stop on the short side. And a penalty coming up right off the bat. And it's going against Colorado.
Sylvain Lefebvre going off for tackling Doug Brown after the good save by Patrick Roy, and Lefebvre carried the check too far. Paul Dvorsky wasn't going to make the call until Lefebvre face-washed Brown in the corner. Brown charges around Lefebvre. Roy makes the save. Now Sylvain Lefebvre carried Brown in past the play. Here's the face wash, and That's why Paul Dvorsky had the arm up in the air. It wasn't the check in behind the net.
In game 3, Detroit scored a minute 12 in. Here, 69 seconds into the game, they go on the power play that was only impressive in game 2 and has really struggled at home. Here's Fedorov with a pass, stopped by Waugh, and the Avalanche get it out to center.
Well, there to be successful, you have to get some rebounds on Patrick Waugh. That was a good opportunity. He couldn't handle the rebound, but his defense there to clear the puck, clear the zone.
Larionov, Kozlov, Lapointe up front. Fedorov and Lidstrom are the point men as Kozlov sends it in. Lapointe gives chase against Adam Foote. Around on the far side, Keane blocked the Lidstrom pass, and now Lapointe will set it up. He hands it to Kozlov, the leading goal scorer for Detroit in these playoffs. Larionov scores!
Igor Larionov throws it out front, and that goes off Alexei Guzarov's stick. And Larionov's power play goal in game 2, almost a mirror image of this play. Guzarov's trying to pick off the pass. Lapointe goes to the front of the net, and it hits Guzarov's stick and goes by Patrick Waugh. And Igor Larionov now has 7 of his 9 points on the power play. He's one of the keys. Gets that puck in the corner, and it's tough to react. He made such good passes.
Must have been a pretty good pool player. Off foot in Colorado this time. It goes off Gusarov, and the Red Wings strike quickly again. 1:52 the time of the goal, and a power play marker for Detroit.
Well, Larionov's trying to hit Martin Lapointe. Lapointe's in front. Guzarov's trying to pick off the pass, but instead of picking off the pass, he banks it right in behind Patrick Waugh. No chance for Waugh. You can see from the angle of Guzarov's stick, he was trying to get it to go up. He wasn't trying to bank it back towards the corner. He was trying just to deflect it up in the air. Instead, he put it right in the net.
Forsberg, Kaminsky, and Lemieux come on for Colorado. There's Konstantinov, up ahead to Yzerman, with Sandstrom, McCarty cruising on the right side. Ozelin stepped into him as it's in front. Off Waugh, cleared to the side, and the Avalanche get it down the ice. Race for it, Kaminsky and Konstantinov, who gets there first for the icing call.
The Detroit Red Wings score in the power play, and one of the reasons they've played so well is the play of Martin Lapointe. They're on the power play. Colorado worried about him in front of the net. Larionov tried to hit him. Lapointe so big and strong, and the puck is deflected in behind Patrick Waugh. The defense that has played very, very well stays the same. Rouse and Ward not used as much by Scotty Bowman as the other 4, but when they have been used, they played very well. Ward has a mouse under his one eye, an injury received yesterday, but he's all right.
John, the official on the goal, Larionov from Kozlov and Lapointe at 1:52. And the puck cleared ahead, and here's Fedorov handing it to Deadmarsh at center. He couldn't get loose, and Brown feeds Fedorov. Looking for Kozlov, that's off the stick of Lacroix into the Avalanche zone, and Gusarov. Up to Fruitvale, BC's Adam Deadmarsh. Can't get loose at center. Lidstrom broke it up and puts it back into the Avalanche zone. One of the topics of conversation in between games was Colorado felt they were starting to figure out the defensive play of the Red Wings and maybe could expose them with their speed. Larionov takes a chopping shot, looks for the rebound. Patrick Waugh covers, and a penalty to Gusarov coming up. So Igor Larionov has a goal, draws a penalty, and the Red Wings go back to the power play.
Gusarov goes off for hooking Igor Larionov. Larionov going for a rebound, and Gusarov just stops skating. Larionov takes the shot. Gusarov turns around. Now his legs don't move at all. He's gliding. He hooks Larionov and takes the hooking penalty.
Red Wings with a power play goal, a minute 52. And now they go back to work with the man advantage. Yell on the draw against Yzerman. Here's Thomas Sandstrom centering it. Shanahan pounded it wide. Yell up with it. Can't get it by Lidstrom. Now it's back to Lidstrom at the point. He's bothered by Yell. And Yell comes up with it. Shovels it over to Keane with foot. Onside. Keane shot blocked. And the Avs may be caught here. Back comes Yzerman over the line with Fedorov, shooting it right on. Yell up with a rebound. Now Messier can't get it by Fedorov. Yzerman behind the net. Sandstrom parks at the goal mouth. Shanahan back to Fedorov and Lidstrom. Now Fedorov blasting it in, and Patrick Roy does not give up a rebound.
Patrick Roy with the good save. Detroit's power play has looked good. They're 1-for-1. Brendan Shanahan had a great chance. It just went wide. Here's Detroit on the rush after the good chance by Mike Keane. Steve Yzerman gains the blue line, backs everybody in. See who's back? Stefan Yell. When Adam Foote got trapped, Stefan Yell was the first guy back. And here's another shot on the power play, handled on the tip-in try by Yzerman, and that was a better save than I thought. Yzerman tipped it up above, and Roy reacted with the glove.
From the draw, it comes back to Konstantinov and Murphy. High blast off the glass. Kozlov's after it along the boards. And now it comes out. And it's center ice. Kozlov will dance back in with Martin Lapointe. He'll play it over to Konstantinov. That shot deflects over the net. Aaron Miller plays it around, and Sakic will chop it down the ice. 45 seconds remaining in the penalty to Gusarov. The shot 7-0 in favor of the Red Wings. It was 8.5 minutes before the Avalanche had a shot on goal in game 3. Now Kozlov. Larionov in the corner. Back out to Konstantinov. Martin Lapointe parked in front, jostling with Aaron Miller. Here's a centering pass, and it went by Larionov and down the ice. As we've hit the 5-minute mark of the opening period, 15 seconds to go in this second power play for Detroit.
Detroit would much rather have Larionov in the corner making those passes instead of accepting those passes. That time Larionov couldn't just make contact in front.
Now Gusarov back on the ice. Messier tied up. Here's Joe Kocur moving in for Detroit. One hand on the stick, couldn't get it to Draper. Maltby now takes over for the Red Wings. The grind line out for Detroit. That's Messier taking Maltby to the corner. Draper in to help out. Adam Foote there for the Avalanche. And Foote comes up with it. Up the boards, and Lemieux ahead. Gusarov to Forsberg. Knocked down by Draper. Kamensky to Lemieux. Broken up by Lidstrom. And Lidstrom sends the Avalanche back.
There again, Detroit standing up outside their own blue line, not letting the Avalanche make any plays.
Konstantinov batted it down at the line and forces Lemieux off the puck. As it's clipped down the ice, McCarty giving chase, and Waugh comes out of the net to play it ahead.
Patrick Waugh took a little swing at McCarty. That's what the fans are reacting to. Waugh out handling the puck again.
And an icing call against Colorado. 1-0. Detroit leading. And the Avalanche out of the gate slowly in game 4.
Graves talked about it in the opening. Not many dump-ins from the Avalanche, and it's been Detroit. There's Patrick Roy with the little shot on McCarty, and that's what the fans were reacting to. I think Patrick thought McCarty was going to continue on, but Detroit's been very disciplined that way. They haven't been running at Patrick Roy. Colorado is going to have to shoot it in and chase and get a forecheck going. They're all trying to carry it in, and Detroit's doing a great job standing up, standing at the blue line, and forcing the play.
Well, that was quite a press conference yesterday for Patrick Roy. Now having words with Paul Dvorsky, or vice versa. But he said, I want to see how ready Detroit is to play. Apparently, the Red Wings are ready. Avalanche up with it from the faceoff. Foote Twisting away from McCarty. Mike Ricci at center with Keane. And it's played into the Detroit zone. Out come the Red Wings. Yzerman flips it in. Knocked over the stick of Waugh. McCarty and Sandstrom along the boards. There's Yzerman, unable to corral it. Putting Yzerman along the boards, and now sent back in behind the Colorado goal. Sandis Ozolin hasn't been as dangerous offensively in this series so far at the line. The pass is offside. So 1-0 Detroit on the power play goal early by Igor Larionov.
Sandis Ozolic didn't play much in Game 3 after the second period. The Avs are out of sync. Here's Ozolic. Everybody expects him to shoot it in quickly. Instead, he waits, and everybody's offside. They got 3 guys offside because Ozolic hesitated at the red line before he shot it in. The Avalanche have to get it going here. They were worried about how they would start, and they have started very slowly here in Game 4.
And now here's Shanahan over the line. His shot ricocheted over to Lapointe. Larionov scores!
Detroit is doing such a great job standing up, and the Avs aren't. Now here's Brendan Shanahan. Look at how deep the defense are. Shanahan's shot goes right to Lapointe. They can't clear Igor Larionov with the puck standing on end. The Dave Keon backhand, here it is. Patrick Waugh thought Lapointe was going to shoot it. He was out of position. He couldn't scramble back to his feet quickly enough. And Larionov, because the puck was standing on end, was able to jerk it up into the corner.
Detroit's smallest forward has a pair of first period goals, and the hole is even deeper now for the Avalanche. Shanahan and Lapointe get the assists. Lapointe with a pair of assists in this first period.
And Colorado's calling a timeout. And this is a good timeout by Mark Crawford. He really has to get these guys and say, okay, come on, let's play with our heads here. Play with our hearts, but we can play with our heads at the same time. Detroit gets a lucky bounce on the original shot by Shanahan. Shanahan's shot goes over to Lapointe, and Colorado can't clear it. Patrick Waugh is already committed, and there's Larionov with the rolling puck, goes by Peter Forsberg, lets it go, and in it goes. And there's Sergei Fedorov congratulating his older compatriot.
You know, John, for all the talk about what Colorado was going to do tonight, it's astounding that at 7:15 of the first period, Mark Crawford's team is without a shot on goal and is down by 2.
Well, they've taken 2 penalties, and that's naturally going to slow you down, but they killed the second one. And you would think that would have given them a lift. Well, it hasn't. They haven't done anything since they killed that penalty.
Now here's Sakic picking off a pass and a quick shot on Vernon. Here's Sakic again swiping at it, blocked in front. First pressure now by the Avalanche. The initial shot coming about 7.5 minutes into this opening period. As Deadmarsh now takes a shot, Vernon down. I'm not sure he saw it. Kept it out. And the Avalanche, after the timeout, seem to have a little more jump. And an icing call against Detroit.
Joey Sakic, the leader on that shift for Colorado, and he was a leader in Game 3. He played very well, but the other Avalanche leaders, Claude Lemieux, Peter Forsberg, did not play very well. And the Avalanche had a little confrontation among themselves at the team bus after Game 3, and Patrick Waugh was visibly upset about how his team had played in Game 3 and how some individuals had played, and Joe Sakic had to step in and be the peacemaker. And this is a very high-talented team, great expectations, and you're going to have those kind of situations.
Mike Keane was involved in that meeting, Claude Lemieux. A curbside discussion following Game 3. Here's Forsberg from the faceoff. His pass across onto the stick of McCarty. Back into the Colorado zone. Here's a pass, side of the net. Yzerman centered it. Knocked to the line. Kept in by Lidstrom. Now Forsberg's on it. Just dumped it to the Detroit line. Sandstrom ahead to Yzerman. Flipping it back. Sandstrom working in. And that one off his stick. And Sandstrom knocked into the net. And play is called. 8:20 into the opening period of Game 4 with Detroit holding on to a 2-0 lead.
All over Colorado. Thomas Sandstrom tries to cut around John Clem. Sandis Ozolinsh comes back to help, and Sandstrom naturally bumps Patrick Roy. Ozolinsh knocks him down. Colorado very fortunate to be in this series. Lost Game 1, or won Game 1, when in fact they should have lost Game 1. Patrick Roy was very good in that one. The Red Wings solved Patrick Roy late in Game 2, 3 goals in the third period to win that one. Game 3, Colorado played better, but came out of the gate very slow in that one. Could have won it, but did not play well. Their stars didn't play well. Lost that one 2-1, and it's been all Detroit. Shots on goal now 8-1 here at the 8:20 mark of the first period.
This was the position the Avalanche were in a year ago in the conference championship, down 2-1 to Chicago on the road. Came up with a double overtime victory to even the series, and that was a pivotal game in their run to the cup. Trying to draw on that here in Game 4, but off to a sluggish start against Detroit tonight. Here's John Clem firing it around. Mike Keane goes after it. Joe Kocur there for the Red Wings. And again, it slides down the ice, and Clem back to get the icing call.
Well, since the timeout, Detroit has had to ice the puck twice. And Colorado has finally got the puck in deep. That time Mike Vernon had to handle it. John Clem had the chance from the point. But that was a very good timeout called by Mark Crawford. His team was doing nothing. Slow things down, slow Detroit down a little bit, and give his team time to regroup.
Mark Crawford's team was awakened prior to game number 3 here by a false alarm at the hotel, but nothing false about the alarms now that are going off at Joe Louis Arena for the defending Stanley Cup champions. Pass ahead for Lapointe, too far. Lefebvre back to get it. Got rid of it at center. Here's Fedosov over the line. +6 to lead the Red Wings in the playoffs, the 39-year-old defenseman. Aaron Miller up for Sakic and Young. Now Lefebvre. He'll dump it in, and Ricci gives chase. Vernon out of the net. In the corner, Shanahan knocked down by Sakic. Larionov gets it past Miller, and out comes Lapointe. He'll send it in, and that line for the Red Wings heads to the bench. Scott Young over to Miller, and that one through the open door at the Colorado bench.
Colorado still has the top scorers in this year's playoffs, but not in this series. Only 9 points for the Fab Five of Colorado here in this series. No goals from Peter Forsberg, no goals from Claude, well, 1 goal from Claude Lemieux, but Valerie Kamensky doesn't have a goal. Sandis Ozolinsh has really struggled, and I think we should almost add Doug Brownov to that, because Doug Brown has played very well in the Fab Five. Maybe Brownov instead of Brendan Shanahan, because he hasn't hit his stride in this series. He has not played that well, but they haven't needed him.
Here's Nicholas Lidstrom firing it around. Ozolinsh didn't get past Brown, and now Lemieux. Well, Forsberg will try to wind up. He's checked by Brown. Comes to the line. Kozlov batted it down. And now this line for Detroit, bottling up the Avalanche. Adam Foote straight up the ice. He'll flip it in. Here's Vernon out to play it off the glass. Bouncing down for Ozolinsh, up against Fedorov. Ozolinsh gets help from Forsberg. Checked off his stick by Murphy. And now Brown back. He's tied up as Forsberg came back defensively. Now Adam Foote. Couldn't get it out. It does go by Lidstrom. And now Konstantinov to Yzerman. 9 minutes, 15 seconds to go. First period, Sandstrom a shot on Waugh. Gusarov was hit hard in behind the net. Here's Sandstrom trying to center it, and he put it by everybody down the ice. And Fetisov will have to go back to get it. Past the 11-minute mark of the opening period, still just one shot on goal for Colorado. Lefebvre backhanding it. Fetisov gave it away. Puck loose in front, and Sandstrom rolls it out of danger.
There, Colorado, another chance to shoot the puck, and instead tried to make the pretty play. They should, right now, just try and fire everything they can at Mike Vernon. Or anything they can at Mike Vernon.
Aaron Ward's on the ice, gives it to Maltby off the boards. Lefebvre picked it off for Colorado, and that's over 2 lines to Stefan Yell. And offside called against the Avalanche. Igor Larionov has a pair. It's 2-0 Detroit.
Town halls on the issues, documentaries, and campaign specials on The National.
Election stories you won't find anywhere else.
Thomas Sandstrom with a shot, and it's a tough save for Patrick Waugh because Gusarov hits this. How many times have we seen this during the 97 playoffs where the defenseman gets his stick out? Patrick Waugh has to make the save. Oh, good solid hit by Darren McCarty. Patrick Waugh, the follow through of the shot, that's not a penalty this year. That's a referee's discretion, and Patrick, just the follow through on the shot hit Koser. No call from Paul Dvorsky.
Joe Sakic's out with Adam Deadmarsh and Rene Corbet for the Avalanche. Larionov, Shanahan, and Lapointe for Detroit. 8 minutes, 8 seconds to go. Opening period. Sakic up to Ozolinch, stopped right there by Lapointe. And the Avalanche captain back to get it. John Clem playing defense in this game. Started the series up at forward. Saw much more action on the blue line in game 3, and here he has started back there in game 4.
Well, John Clem gives the Avalanche a little more speed, a little more physical presence back on the blue line, and I think the fact that he's played much longer than Eric Messier is another reason that John Clem's in. They're in the conference final, and Clem might be able to handle the pressure a little more easily than Eric Messier, although Messier has played pretty well when he has played.
What we haven't seen, though, John, talking about Colorado's defense, we haven't seen the Avalanche really challenging Detroit's defense. Here's Ward shooting. Oh, that's off the post. Maltby redirecting it. The Red Wings have been getting a lot of bounces, and that one just off the post was a break for Colorado. Gusarov back in his own zone. He'll leave it for Forsberg. Hands it off to Foote. Up ahead for Keane. Played into the Detroit zone. Kaminsky going after it. And back to get it is McCarty. He'll flip it out to center. Now Foote over to Gusarov. Up for Keane and Forsberg. Up flipped in. Kaminsky giving chase. Keane along the boards. There's Kaminsky in the corner against Konstantinov. And Forsberg stepping into Konstantinov. Penalty coming up. And it's going to be Forsberg for elbowing. Another Detroit power play.
Detroit got Colorado back in game 3 by taking 3 straight penalties. Well, this is 3 straight against Colorado here in the first period. And Peter Forsberg, we talked about this, Chris, in the opening. And there's Forsberg jumping off his feet again. And the referees have warned the teams, if you leave your feet, you're going to get a penalty. It'll be charging, it'll be high sticking. This time it's elbowing. You cannot jump at the player as you make contact. And there was Peter Forsberg jumping at Vlad Konstantinov. Colorado's power play has been very good, but their penalty killing has been excellent. But Detroit has had streaks. They had 2 goals, 2 power play goals in game 2. They have 1 already here in game 4.
You see Forsberg running at Konstantinov, and Konstantinov has been a thorn in his side throughout this series. Crawford said that Konstantinov could be called every shift for a penalty. He was trying to get the officials watching 16 more. Instead, it's his own man in the box. Pass back to the point, slides all the way down the ice, and the first 30 seconds of the Forsberg minor has expired. Here's Fedorov. Over to Kozlov. Working against Lefebvre. Kozlov off the side of the net, in behind Lapointe. Sets it up for Larionov. Kozlov takes the shot. Fedorov. Back to Kozlov. Whips it right on. Rebound knocked wide. Back out to Kozlov. 4 power play goals in the playoffs. Lefebvre in the corner. Hounded by Lapointe. Now it comes to Larionov. 2 goals already. Larionov trying to set it up. Kozlov. Watched by Yell. Now across. Lidstrom fires it. That goes wide of the net. Keane on it with a chance to get it out. And he'll send it down the ice.
Again, good work by the Detroit power play, waiting, good passes, and waiting for the good opportunity to score, and that was Nicholas Lidstrom.
5:20 remaining, first period. Detroit with the man advantage, trying to add to a 2-0 lead. It comes in front, and Lefebvre was there up to Deadmarsh, breaking his Sakic. That pass just missed the streaking captain. Larry Murphy now. Up to Sandstrom, dying seconds of this power play. Yzerman takes a look, hands it off to Murphy. Backhand in front, that doesn't get through. And now Forsberg back on the ice. And Forsberg up with the puck. Out there now with Sakic. Long shoot in by Forsberg off target. Now Shanahan. Drops it off for Sandstrom. High off the glass. Draper goes after it. Kicked it in behind the net. Tries to come up with it against Forsberg. Can't do it. And back comes Ozolin. He takes a hit from Maltby. Now Clem backhands it in. Vernon out. Lemieux directed the weak shot. Vernon got back quickly. 4:14 left first period. Here's Maltby on the move. And that shot handled by Waugh. Giveaway. Larionov there. Couldn't control it. And now Lemieux to Ozolin. Rink wide it goes to Kaminsky. Sakic moving up. Kaminsky shot deflecting wide. Sakic there to center it. Benazov. Backhanding it out of trouble with Ozolin moving down. And 3:50 to go. Here in the first period at Joe Louis Arena.
He didn't.
John Clem battling Martin Lapointe in the slot on the Detroit power play, and he's tough to handle. He's so strong. Lapointe gets position on Clem, and Clem never can get it back. He gives him a shot from behind, gives him a shot again, and still Lapointe has position on Clem between the puck and the goaltender. And Clem, no matter how hard he battled, could not get back in front of Lapointe.
Face-off win for the Avalanche. A shot by Messier doesn't get through. Shanahan gets it out to center. 3:40 remaining, first period. The shots on goal, 13-2 in favor of Detroit. And they lead by 2. Here's the youngster Messier. Sends it in wide of the goal. Rene Corbet first to get to it. Weak shot on the short side, handled easily by Vernon. And now Sakic left it in the corner. Corbet goes after it. Lacroix went down. Corbet along the boards. To Sakic, checked by Larionov. And now Larry Murphy tries it the other way and gets it out. Aaron Miller turning. Gives it to Lefebvre, takes it back again. Pass goes beyond Young. For Fedorov. That went past Fedorov, and this is icing against Detroit.
End of the first period. Don Cherry, as per usual, in the coach's corner, and I'm sure he will be able to react to this first period. Not what we expected up here in the booth, and I'm sure not what he expected. And from the files, May 24th, 1988, the old Boston Garden, a fogout. Would you call that a fogout? You're the football guy. Was that a fogout in 1988, or
the fogout or the blackout?
The darkout, the blackout. And now we have Colorado discussing things with Paul Dvorsky. And
there's a penalty on the board.
Too many men on the ice penalty for Colorado on that icing call. And boy, oh boy, that's one that'll be tough for Mark Crawford to take.
Colorado penalty. Too many men
On the ice on an icing call, and the linesman, I don't buy this one. There's no way the linesman should make this call. It didn't matter if Colorado would have had 2 guys on the ice instead of 5. They would have got to that puck first. Here, Detroit goes to ice it. There's 1, 2, 3. And there's 3 more. There's 6. Now, he's close enough to the bench. This isn't going to matter. That's an icing call, and boy, oh boy, I can understand why Mark Crawford is upset about that one.
4th time in the first period, the Red Wings will enjoy a man advantage.
And Colorado goes over and argues with Paul Dvorsky, but it's not Dvorsky making the call. That's the linesman making the call.
Well, it was 3 straight against Detroit in the first period of Game 3. 4 straight against the Avalanche in the first of Game 4.
And now they're looking, they've got the door open. Colorado has to put somebody in the penalty box, and Paul Dvorsky naturally is not going to give an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty after that one.
Valerie Kaminsky, number 17.
So Kaminsky will serve the too many men penalty. Another power play goal here could be fatal for the defending Stanley Cup champions. Patrick Roy lost it at the side of the net. Gold Brown almost had an open corner. Now Kozlov back to Murphy. Lidstrom, his shot knocked down, but he stops Keane from going after it. And now plays it back to Murphy. 2:10 remaining in the opening period. As the Red Wings enjoy their 4th power play, trying to add to a 2-0 lead. Kozlov. He gave it away, and the Avalanche send Detroit back. Konstantinov watched by Forsberg.
Crowd hollering that Mike Vernon should have had a shot credited on goal because that's all the Avalanche are getting.
Here's Sakic turning. Avalanche without a short-handed goal in the playoffs. Now Konstantinov, he missed the pass at the line, driven in by Fedosov. On the far side, Shanahan plays it in behind the net, crashing in there Sandstrom, but Forsberg up with it, and he flips it down the ice. 33 seconds remaining in the Detroit power play. And the fans trying to urge the Red Wings to play with a little more intensity on this power play. Here's a chance, stopped by Waugh, as Yzerman got a shot. Sandstrom behind the net, looks for Yzerman again. Final minute, first period. Here's Yzerman, trying to feed it into the high slot for Shanahan. Knocked down at the line. Konstantinov chops it back in there. Yzerman knocked down by Foot, and the Avalanche get it out. So Colorado kills the penalty. It remains 2-0 here in the final minute. Maltby knocked off the puck. Played in by McCarty. John Clem now sets up behind the net. Here comes Sakic. Joe Sakic over the line, trying to work in against Murphy. He's upended. Now Kaminsky goes after it in the near corner. Detroit clears it out. And time's going to run out here in this opening period. Red Wings enjoyed their first period lead. Wait, we got a penalty coming up. With 4.8 seconds to go, it's another penalty against the Avalanche. 5th of the period.
Claude Lemieux gets a high sticking penalty on Darren McCarty, and McCarty was very disciplined not to go back at Lemieux. Now, Claude Lemieux has to get himself involved. He has not played very well. He's trying to draw a penalty. Here he whacks at McCarty and takes the high sticking penalty. And he kept going at McCarty all the way down the ice, trying to get McCarty to get back at him, and McCarty just wouldn't go.
They had words
Colorado's Claude Lemieux, 2 minute
In
minor
game
for
3, and he's having words in the penalty box as well.
And here's Lemieux again. Gives McCarty the shot, and McCarty just pushes him off. And that's a good play by McCarty. The arm was already up in the air, and don't give the referee an opportunity to even it up.
So 4.8 seconds to go.
And we might have another penalty here. And Paul Dvorsky is waving at the Colorado players. And I think it might be Patrick Roy who's getting a misconduct penalty.
Colorado penalty, number 33.
It is Patrick Roy.
A 10-minute misconduct. Avalanche 55.
And Patrick Roy still smiling at Paul Dvorsky, and Patrick Roy will get a 10-minute misconduct. It doesn't mean a whole lot, except that Mark Crawford's bench gets a little shorter. And Mike Ricci comes over to sit out Patrick Roy's 10-minute misconduct.
While they have not looked like the defending Stanley Cup champions in the first period of a critical game.
Now, it has to be somebody who was on the ice. That's the only problem that the Avalanche are going to have. So Ricci heads back. At least now Mark Crawford gets a personal audience with Paul Dvorsky.
Well, he didn't like the too many men penalty. I'm not sure he was crazy about the Lemieux penalty.
Well, the too many men penalty, that was ridiculous. And then the Lemieux penalty. Paul Dvorsky, who has that reputation, he lets things go, is calling it very tightly. And Chris, do you feel this is a reaction that they've gotten to Paul Dvorsky after that Philly Ranger game and said, okay, you better clamp down?
Well, it's clamped down one way, and
well,
Detroit's been initiating, not reacting to anything.
You've got a power play all the time. You're not going to take penalties.
Well, this will do it for period number 1, and we expected it might be the best for the Avalanche in the series. It turned out to be the worst. The shots on goal, 14-2 in favor of Detroit. Igor Larionov a pair, 2-0 Red Wings after 1. Well, Joe Louis Arena was rocking in the first period of Game 4 with the Detroit Red Wings building a 2-0 lead. Igor Larionov with as many goals in the first period as the Avalanche had shots. Power play marker at 1:52. And then Larionov on that backhand goal at 7:15.
The Colorado Avalanche trying to get themselves going. Here's the tight-knit huddle. This is back to the junior days. All of us who played junior hockey would get in that tight-knit huddle. Try and get your team going, get pumped up. The Avalanche have to do something, get it turned around. There's Claude Lemieux and Stefan Yell. He was on the ice when Patrick Roy took the misconduct penalty, and so Stefan Yell was a designated sitter for Mark Crawford.
Yes, it's the tight-knit huddles in the penalty box that have been a problem, as Detroit enjoys its 5th power play of the game. 1 for 4. Yzerman carries over the line, comes across, now gives it to Fedorov, and his pass for Sandstrom went right by Sandstrom and all the way out. Nicholas Lidstrom chased back by Mike Keane. And now the captain, Yzerman at center, hitting Fedorov over the line. Fedorov and a shot. Stopped by Roy on the logo.
Detroit enjoying all those power play. Joe Sakic killing penalties, 9-13, and Mark Crawford with Stefan Yell back wanted to take some of Joe Sakic's ice time away. He was only hit twice because he was chasing the power play most of the time. Peter Forsberg only 5-25, but you have to remember he was in the penalty box for one of those power plays, so there's an extra 2 minutes for Peter Forsberg, Brendan Shanahan, 6:42. Detroit's ice time. Scotty Bowman doing a good job. Everybody about the same except for Nicholas Lidstrom.
Here's a shot bouncing through and stopped by Waugh. That's what a little pushing is. Lapointe is jostled in front of the net. Scotty Bowman talked about the fact that he's been able to go with 4 lines in this series, and just about every line has been able to play against anybody on the Avalanche.
Well, it's a real confidence booster when your coach will play against anybody, and that's what Scotty Bowman has been able to do, and much of that has to do with the play of his defense.
On that face-off, Lapointe goes after it again as he bumps with Lefebvre. Kozlov works it back to Murphy. Here's Larry Murphy shooting it. That sailed wide. Konstantinov fired it across off Forsberg, and it will come out to center. Peter Forsberg gets it over to John Clem, and now Clem is up on the penalty kill. 45 seconds remaining in the Lemieux minor. Here's Larionov. Up for Murphy. Watched by Sakic. The pass knocked down. And Murphy unable to keep it in. In front of the Detroit bench, kicks it ahead. Here's Larionov for Kozlov. And he whipped that shot high. Now Mike Keane has the puck. And Keane over center ice. 15 seconds to go. Here's Gusarov taking the shot. That went off the side of the net. Now Kozlov in the dying seconds of this 5th Detroit power play.
Colorado giving up that good scoring chance when they had the puck out at the red line. Here's a hand pass, and now they've killed the 5th minor penalty they've taken. Colorado jumped up, being more aggressive, trying to go for the shorthand goal, and this created a 2-on-1 against Slava Kozlov. Here's Adam Foote. He gets trapped. He's trying to jump up. Now it's a 2-on-1. Larionov again with the perfect pass to Kozlov. He's trying to get too fine with this shot. Tries to go high glove side on Patrick Waugh and fires it wide.
Shots are 16-3, and 10 of the shots for the Red Wings have been with the man advantage in this game. Draper, Koser, Maltby out for Detroit. Adam Deadmarsh with Scott Young and Rene Corbet. So Deadmarsh playing center at the moment. And again, Stefan Yell is serving the misconduct. Assessed Patrick Waugh late in the first. Adam Deadmarsh trying to snap a slump to this series. Corbet crashing in there. And Corbet being jostled by Ward. Up comes 3 for Maltby. Claude Lemieux is over there forechecking now. Out at center. And here's Draper on it with Koser. Joey Koser shooting it right on, and Patrick Waugh makes the stop.
And again, the Colorado Avalanche give up an outnumbered attack. Ward and Corbet a little pushing and shoving. Ozolinsh gets trapped. Messier's facing the 2-on-1. There's Ozolinsh trying to get back. Joey Koser's not a goal scorer. Waited for Patrick Waugh to get over, and that was a fatal mistake. Patrick Waugh in perfect position to make the save. That's Scotty Bowman using all 4 of his lines. Doesn't matter who's out there. Koser's line against Lemieux's line, and it's Koser's line that has the best chance.
Now Yzerman's out against Forsberg. Detroit wins the draw. Here's Konstantinov. Shot right on. He plays the rebound out to center ice. Sandstrom there. Looks for McCarty. And it's back into the Avalanche zone. Well, here we are in the second period of Game 4. The Avalanche, the high-powered defending Stanley Cup champions, with only 2 even strength goals in the series. And they have not threatened so far tonight. Lefebvre at center. Looking for Kamensky. Broken up by Konstantinov. Here's Yzerman. Looks in front. Sandstrom backhand. Was down. And a big stop there on Thomas Sandstrom in front of the goal.
Well, right now we've got the chances at 11-1, and that one is a questionable one by Joey Sakic. It has been all Detroit.
And back in they come again. Here's Kozlov. And that shot deflecting high and over the glass. Well, the Avalanche closed ranks, but have not been able to open it up against Detroit.
Competitive situation doesn't change, we're dead.
Tough questions.
You are still an undischarged bankrupt.
Yes.
What's the real story?
They listen to you, they do nothing.
Venture, Sunday night.
Yes.
Thomas Sandstrom can't buy a goal. He missed a glorious scoring chance in the first period on a pass across. This time he gets a break. It comes to him off a stick on the backhand. Patrick Roy's out of position. But Patrick's better scrambling ability in his last few years. Roy's down, he's committed, but he scrambles back and makes the save with his blocker.
Sandstrom still looking for his first goal of these playoffs, and the shot domination continues for the Red Wings. Adam Foote one hands it ahead, and now Lemieux will pick it up. Here's Paul Lemieux firing it in on Vernon, can't find it, reaching to the net. And it's knocked wide, and Shanahan gets it out of trouble.
I would say that's the first legitimate scoring chance for the Colorado Avalanche.
Patrick Roy sent it to center. Shanahan's there. Back to Murphy. And Lidstrom. Larry Murphy. Here's Shanahan. A pass for Larionov. Broken up by Sakic. Sends it over on the right side. Here's Claude Lemieux driving it in. Rebound, bouncing loose. Ricci goes after it. So does Lemieux. Sakic's on it. Gusarov in front. Big stop, Vernon. Rebound doesn't get through. Mike Vernon really tested there, but comes up big. Alexei Gusarov moved up and had the scoring chance, and now Sakic can't get loose at center. Played back into the Colorado zone by Draper. Waugh off the boards, knocked down by Koser. Shot stopped by Waugh. Here's Keane ahead, looking for Forsberg at the line. Peter Forsberg, one assist in the series, hauled down. Penalty coming up. Here's Ozolic swooping in, and it's touched by a Red Wing. And for the first time in the game, Detroit will be penalized, and Colorado will get a power play.
How much was Ron McLean going to bet that Detroit would get the next penalty? Was it $1 million? Well, Ron wins the $1 million. Bob Rouse goes out for holding, and this was a legitimate penalty. Reaches around, grabs Peter Forsberg, but you knew that Paul Dvorsky was looking for something against Detroit, and he spots the holding.
Rouse with the most penalty minutes for Detroit in the playoffs.
Here's a long shot by Claude Lemieux that Mike Vernon can't handle. Goes up in the air, and Detroit turns around to look for the puck. Mike Ricci's there first, but it bounces, and he can't make much contact with it. And right after that, Colorado has another great scoring. What a save by Vernon. The right leg out, the old Jacques Plante style kick save by Vernon. Boy, is he on a roll.
So the Avalanche go to the power play. 21 power play goals in the playoffs. Joe Sakic's on the ice. Forsberg, Lemieux, Ozolic, Kamensky. Sakic, right wing pass, broken up by Yzerman. And he'll backhand it out. Now Ozolic, he'll try it, and he got nailed at the line. Yzerman takes his time and fires it down the ice. Here's Sandis Ozolic. Good pass to Sakic. Up ahead it goes. Forsberg moving in. Here's a shot. And Vernon stopped that one. Ozolic at the line. Claude Lemieux will set it up now. Here's the boost. Sakic stopped by Vernon. On a nice pass from Lemieux. And a minute gone in the power play.
Again, Mike Vernon, perfect position to make that save. Had the angle. Sakic had nothing to shoot at.
The Avalanche now starting to get some chances. Ricci warding off Maltby. And now Ozolic works his way to the line. Lost it, but Larionov will send it back. 6.5 minutes gone. Second period. 2-0 Detroit. And now a half minute remaining in the Avalanche first power play of the game. John Clem off the boards and in. Yzerman's back there. Doing a big job on this penalty kill.
And again, Detroit standing up at the blue line, forcing the Avalanche to shoot it in, and they just won't shoot it in on the power play.
Ricci, Deadmarsh, and Young now out. Final seconds of this power play. Rouse getting set to return. And Vernon will get a face-off with 3 seconds to go in the Detroit minor.
Detroit does a good job with their penalty killing because they know the Avalanche are a team that love to carry the puck over the blue line with control. And Slava Fedosov knows this. He's got Sandis Ozolinsh coming in. He's trying to carry it. Well, it's Konstantinov. It's Vladdy, the most hated guy on the Red Wing team, who steps up on Ozolinsh. There's Konstantinov. Good solid hit. Ozolinsh with his head down, his countryman. And that's what Detroit is doing. That's why they've been so effective killing penalties against Colorado. There's Konstantinov after that big hit.
Rene Corbet on the face-off for Colorado against Larionov, and he almost got a clear shot away. Now Rouse back into the play. That drive sailing high. And there's Rouse out of the penalty box and getting it out to center. 7:20 gone. Here in the second period, puck flipped in on Vernon, and he'll hold on with Claude Lemieux bearing down. It's 2-0 Detroit here in the second period.
You saw something really.
Sergei Fedorov talking to his line mate Doug Brown. He's back on the end of the bench. He went into the runway, had an ice bag on his wrist. John Wharton standing behind him, looking after him, and he gets a tap on the back from Scotty Bowman, asking if he's ready.
At this point last year, all the talk in Detroit was about Fedorov and his lack of success. Already with 11 points this year, one more than all of last year's playoff run. Here's Yzerman against Forsberg. Detroit wins the faceoff. And Larry Murphy has it. Pass knocked down at the line by Forsberg. Now played back out again, and Yzerman takes a look, sends it left wing. Here's Thomas Sandstrom cutting off the wing, looking to center it. Murphy moved up. Unable to beat Patrick Roy. Now back comes Forsberg. Ozolinsh up on the rush. Stopped at the line. And Yzerman takes over. Rolls it ahead. Here's Sandstrom. He's spun around by Kaminsky. Well, Sandstrom after it again. Comes up with it. Takes the shot wide. Yzerman on the rebound. Here's Captain Steve Yzerman trying to spin away from Clem. They continue the battle along the board. Sandstrom was knocked down by Ozolinsh. Clem getting help as he defends against Yzerman. But Yzerman now knocked down, and Clem's going to get a penalty. And another power play for Detroit. The 6th minor of the game going against Colorado. This time, it's John Clem.
Steve Yzerman does a good job along the boards, and a lot of people feel that the training program of the Red Wings in the month of April has really helped him. Yzerman has hauled down, but he used his strength positioning on the boards to make Clem grab him and throw him to the ice.
So the Red Wings back on the power play. Konstantinov to Kozlov, Fedorov, Larionov, and Shanahan also out. Here's a rebound and cleared by Keane. Mike Keane and Joe Sakic, the penalty killer. Stefan Yell still in the penalty box, serving the misconduct to Patrick Roy, 1955 of the first period. Here's Larionov back to the line. Konstantinov unable to keep it in. And here's Sakic. Checked by Konstantinov, and the Red Wings will move back. Kozlov spots Fedorov over the line. Shanahan goes to the net. Back to Konstantinov, and unable to take the pass. Now Fedorov finds Shanahan at the line. Can't get loose. Foot sends it to the Detroit line. Konstantinov up to Fedorov. Here's Fedorov trying to break through. Sergei Fedorov backhands it towards the net. Yzerman. Martin Lapointe's out there now. He takes it in the corner. Back to Yzerman. 45 seconds left in the power play. Here's Lapointe, a pair of first period assists. Yzerman from behind the net. Can't get a shot off. And Gusarov comes up with it for Colorado. Up it goes to Corbet. Splits the defense and just shot wide. Close call there, short-handed. But now back comes Detroit. Lapointe had a blowout at center ice. Lefebvre jamming along the boards, and it comes loose for Keane. And he'll send Detroit back. Well, the Red Wings got one power play goal, and now we've got a penalty coming up as Kozlov was jostling with Corbet.
And Kozlov is the only one going off. Rene Corbet is headed to the bench. Rene Corbet with a good scoring chance, short-handed earlier, came back, and he and Kozlov got tangled up. And Detroit bench has a few words for Corbet.
13 off with 13 seconds in Colorado's minor to John Clem.
Here's Corbet and Kozlov. Corbet gives Kozlov the little face wash, the tug on the sweater, and then who's holding who? Kozlov comes down with the stick, and that's the cross check. And that's what's called. It's not the holding the sweater that Corbet did on Kozlov. It was the cross check, Kozlov on Corbet, and that could have quite easily have been 2 for each team. Here's a scoring chance. Gusarov just feathers this through, tries to bounce it off the defenseman. It does, but Corbet can't make contact with the rolling puck. He does finally, and just pulls it wide on Mike Vernon. The puck's rolling, and Corbet can't control it, so he hooks it like you hook your driver, and it misses the far post.
I don't hook my driver.
No, I've seen you play.
Slice.
Slice.
So in 13 seconds, a Colorado power play. Flipped high in the air. Draper looking for it, and Lemieux got back. Now Forsberg took a hit from Draper. Ozolinch with possession, and now Colorado goes to the power play, and an offside is called at the Avalanche line. Well, coming up tomorrow, it's Game 4 in the Eastern Final. Wayne Gretzky and the New York Rangers will try to get back on even terms with the Philadelphia Flyers. Wild third period last night. And of course, Saturday we'll be in Denver. Will Patrick Roy and the defending Stanley Cup champions be facing elimination Saturday night?
There's Patrick Roy talking things over with Peter Forsberg and Chris Draper, who's trying to play the antagonist down low on Peter Forsberg. It's Forsberg up and over, and you can see Peter Forsberg grimace after that hit, but he stays out.
Well, Detroit has really not been able to put Colorado away with the power play in Game 4, and now the Avalanche with their second try will try to cut into the Detroit lead. Ozolinch. Up ahead it goes to Forsberg. Lemieux will give chase. Vernon plays it off the glass and out off the stick of Vernon. Here's Ozolinch looking for Kaminsky, and by him into the zone, and this is going to be icing against Colorado.
Well, Colorado is one of the best passing teams, if not the best passing team in the NHL, and they've really been out of sync here against Detroit. 46.1% of goals up until the Detroit series, and only 1 versus the Red Wings. And you look at the way these 3 guys can play. Sure, Detroit's playing well, but the mindset, Claude Lemieux, all the hype before the series, Peter Forsberg coming back from that concussion. How much has that affected those 2 players?
Boy, it's a team in need of some kind of spark right now. Minute 10 left in this power play. Joe Sakic. Up ahead 4 foot, and now Scott Young. A couple of power play goals in the playoffs. Fires it in, Maltby back for Detroit. Gets it ahead, and Draper will send the Avalanche back. Patrick Roy plays it off. And the leading scorer in the playoffs, Sakic takes off. Roy, the stick knocked out of his hand. There's Deadmarsh at the line, and Colorado's offside.
I don't think it was knocked out of his hand, Chris, as much as he just jammed it into the back of the net as he was coming around. A little talking pushing again, pushing and shoving. After that, Patrick Waugh comes out to play the puck. Kirk Maltby's coming in. Kirk Maltby circles. There's Patrick handling the puck. Now he bumps into the net, jams it into the post. I used to spear myself doing that. Patrick at least got the stick back in behind him. He hit the post, and I used to always take it in the stomach when that happened. And don't say it, I had lots of padding. Is that what you were going to say, Chris?
That area was safe. Looks like we're having trouble with the Avalanche door.
Yeah, problems with the Avalanche bench, and now we're going to have to get somebody to come out.
See, maybe that's why they had too many men on the ice in the first period.
Rob McLean talking to Paul Dvorsky, and there's Craig Billington sitting in behind the bench. There's Claude Lemieux trying to help out. Mike Ricci comes over.
Scotty Bowman had a bench in Colorado. Maybe the Avalanche are going to have to bring their own door.
Craig Billington looking on, and one of the reasons Patrick has played so well is he has a veteran backup like Billington who could spell him off. And Billington's a very good student of the game, runs his own goaltending schools in the summertime in London and Gravenhurst and throughout southern Ontario. And he said he's learned a lot from Patrick just watching him, watching his attitude. It's made him a better goaltender. There's Gord Brosker. I don't think Gord Brosker should get too close to that Avalanche bench after that call in the first period. Now they're trying to line it up.
Mark Crawford used his timeout in the first period and now gets a timeout.
Now, could this be a point where you take the hinge out of the door? One of the backup goaltender's assignments, loosen the hinge.
They have been unhinged so far tonight, and now have 40 seconds to kind of get this power play on track, but on this, their second power play of the game, they haven't had a real good scoring chance yet.
There's Mark Crawford talking to his team. The Joe Louis Arena, not in the best part of Detroit, but one of the beautiful buildings. There's a statue of Joe Louis, after whom this building was named.
And we've got a heavyweight championship tussle inside.
And we haven't seen many fisticuffs, but if Detroit scores one more goal, if this game gets to be 3-0, I think we could see the ugly side of this, and we might need the boxing gloves.
We're going to have to get Grapes to tell us some Joe Louis stories.
They're still working on that door, the Avalanche bench. Rob McLean is right in there. He must have done a little carpentry in Halifax. Not the Cape Breton McLeans, the Halifax McLeans. Scotty Bowman. Hey, this helps Colorado because now Mark Crawford can get his power play organized and hopefully get them on the right track. We've seen that Mike Ricci goal early in this series was a beautiful goal. It was the game-winning goal in the first game of this series, and that was typical Colorado hockey. Bang, bang, bang. 3 quick passes, good acceleration, good speed through the neutral zone, and that was Colorado hockey. We haven't seen that in this series. We haven't seen that crisp passing. And now I think because they're the favorites this year, the pressure, we've seen a lot of 1-on-3s, 1-on-4s, and they're not using themselves as a team. It's been an individual game, and this Detroit team is a very good team. They're tough to beat.
Well, you assume the break might help the Avalanche get organized on the power play, but a lot of people felt that just the extra day between games 3 and 4 would be a benefit to Colorado. It hasn't worked that way. Well, they continue to work on the door, so we'll take a break here in Detroit.
Another disadvantage.
All right, before we resume, here's what's happened so far.
And it doesn't look good. The power play advantages for Detroit, and that's why the shots on goal are so one-sided. It's 22-8 in favor of Detroit.
And when we last left you, 42 seconds remain in the Kozlov penalty. Not sure we're quite ready yet. Paul Dvorsky over talking to both benches.
And they might make Detroit lock their gate, and they'll have to jump over.
I think that's what he's done. So here we go. After a long break, Colorado goes back on the power play. Konstantinov backhands it out to Yzerman. Goes after it in the Avalanche zone. Knocked away by Avalanche. Sakic plays it off. And now Forsberg. Past Yzerman. Peter Forsberg right side. Here's Kamensky winding up. That knocked down in front. And sent away by Yzerman. Under 8 minutes to go in this second period. 10 seconds to go in the power play.
And all the bounces going Detroit's way. That shot by Kamensky blocked and then cleared out easily.
Now Forsberg. Can't get by Murphy. Fedorov out to center. Kozlov's onside. Here's Kozlov in. Scores!
Mark Crawford is screaming offside. Kozlov skates back on his side of the red line. Oh, baby. Gord Brosiker is the linesman making that call. Kozlov goes in, fakes to the forehand, and gets it up and over Patrick Roy. A great move by Kozlov. Head up, fakes Patrick Roy to commit, goes to the forehand, off the pad and in.
Kozlov 2 in game 3. And the third goal of the game in game 4. He leads Detroit with 8 in the playoffs. So Detroit's 2 smallest forwards have 3 goals. Larianov, a pair, and now Kozlov. And the Avalanche are in real trouble in game 4. Fedorov gets an assist. Now here's Deadmarsh going to the net. Adam Deadmarsh trying to burst through there. Fedorov alone assist. 12:24. The time of the goal for Kozlov. 3-0 Detroit. Desperation time for Colorado. Deadmarsh knocked it loose on the far side. Yell. Now at the point, Adam Foote sends it back in. Later on the near side, kept in by Gusarov. In deep, there's Deadmarsh behind the net, centered it out in front. Yell couldn't get a backhand away. Now Colorado applying pressure. Yell flips it in front. Cleared away by Vernon. Now Deadmarsh is on it. Fedorov for Detroit. Foote moved up, took it away. And now it's Kozlov turning with it. Up to Fedorov. Brown trying to get loose at the line. Here's Doug Brown. Knocked off his stick by Foote. Now Gusarov back for the Avalanche. Flipped it to the line, nearly stolen by Shanahan. Sakic takes off. 6:06 to go, second period. Claude Lemieux hit at the line by Konstantinov. Up for Shanahan. Loose is Lapointe. Martin Lapointe, the shot weak and wide as the whistle goes.
And again, Vlad the Impaler with the big hit on Claude Lemieux. And Lemieux goes over, tries to get Konstantinov involved. And Konstantinov, very disciplined, just skates away. Here's the hit, Konstantinov on Lemieux. Good hip check. And again, Colorado refuses to shoot that puck in at the blue line. Claude Lemieux is going to beat everybody, and the defense stands up. Fedorov with an alert pass to Kozlov. He had to know how much time was left in the penalty. Kozlov's coming out of the penalty box, and Fedorov knows it. So he fires it up the middle, and here's Kozlov. Oh boy, oh boy. Gord Brosiker was right there to make the call, and that was very close whether Kozlov's skates were on his own side of center.
Boy, everything going Detroit's way. And the Red Wings with a 3-0 lead, threatening to take a 3-1 series lead. Fetisov chops it out to center. Aaron Miller missed Yell with the pass. Konstantinov jumped in the air, knocked down by Lacroix. Now Miller straight up the ice, pass on the right side cut off. Lacroix followed up, and they're calling it offside at the Detroit line.
Stefan Yell just back from that injury. He doesn't look obviously as good as he did before the injury. He's back in a hurry. And that's why he sat out that misconduct for Patrick Roy. And there they are going over the door at the Colorado bench in front of Craig Billington. And Detroit's doing the same. That was what the referee Paul Dvorsky went over to the Detroit bench for, saying, well, okay, the disadvantage is Colorado. You have to do the same thing. So Detroit cannot open that door at the one end.
At center ice, Sandstrom was tied up by Lemieux. Detroit puts it into the Colorado zone, and John Clem is back to get it. Under 5 minutes to play in the second period. Igor Larionov with a pair, and Slava Kozlov the other for the Red Wings. And this high-powered Avalanche attack has been stymied at every turn in Game 4. Now here's McCarty, cut off by Ozolinsh out at center ice. Ozolinsh just gets rid of it at center. Larry Murphy back to get it for Detroit. Off the bench came Maltby. Yzerman's after it in front of the Red Wing bench. And it's underneath John Clem for a faceoff.
Slava Kozlov, his skate on that goal play has to be touching the red line when the puck goes over the red line. Left foot, it's on the line, it's on the line, the puck's there. Gord Brosiker is right there to make the call. He's perfect position, and he made the okay call.
And Kozlov now with 8 goals in the last 10 playoff games. Only had 23 during the regular season. They jam in the corner. Joe Kocur up with it for Detroit. Now Konstantinov. 4 minutes to go, second period. Flipped out to center. Forsberg chopping at it. Mike Keane looks for it and spots Kaminsky. Here's Valerie Kaminsky swooping in again. Can't get a good shot away, and Konstantinov back. At the line, Foote tried to keep it in. It comes out, and Messier looks rink wide. There's Kaminsky. One move at the line. Plays it in, and Keane's after it. There's Forsberg, tied up by Maltby and knocked down. To the line, kept in by Kaminsky. Long shot, and we've got a penalty coming up. And who's this going against? Fetisov was tied up with Foote. And it looks like it's Foote.
Adam Foote goes off, and he gets the interference penalty, and Colorado is in the position now where they just cannot afford to give up another goal, and they're going to have to go for it shorthanded. It's an elbowing penalty. Here comes Fetisov, and here comes Adam Foote, and he's got the elbow right in Fetisov's chin. And Paul Dvorsky makes the call. Adam Foote knew he might be in trouble, because as soon as he came off the boards, he turned around and looked at Dvorsky, and Dvorsky made the call. But I'm sure Mark Crawford's at the point now where he's saying, well, we've had so many penalties, even the legitimate ones, how can you call them now?
11 of the 23 shots for Detroit have been with the man advantage. 1 power play goal in 6 attempts. So the Red Wings really haven't. Here's a chance, Larionov. That's the second time in 2 games we've seen that funny hop off the glass. Fedorov scores!
Nice play by Detroit after this play off the boards. They throw it around. Gusarov gets in no man's land. Gusarov has nobody to watch, and all he ends up doing is screening Patrick Roy. Look at Gusarov. A pass comes to Fedorov, and this might have been tipped out high, but it goes right by Gusarov, and Patrick Waugh doesn't see it. Gusarov didn't have a man, but he was perfectly lined up with Sergei Fedorov. Get out of the way and let your goaltender see it.
Well, he assisted on the Kozlov breakaway goal, and now Fedorov, a power play marker, and he leads the scoring in the series with 2 goals and 4 assists. And Detroit taking a stranglehold on game 4 and perhaps the series. 4-0 Red Wings. Time of that power play goal, 16:54. Here's Larionov, and Waugh mixing it up. And Aaron Miller getting in the midst of it. Martin Lapointe up there in support of his center, and now Waugh having words with Larionov. John, you mentioned the possibility of this thing spilling over emotionally if one team got ahead. And for the first time in the series, one team has broken away.
And it doesn't look like Paul Dvorsky is going to make any penalty calls here. And Patrick Waugh now is getting frustrated. It's really tough for a goaltender to guarantee a win. And Patrick Waugh practically guaranteed a win at the press conference yesterday. And that's, the goaltender cannot control deflected pucks. Gusarov deflects one by him. Gusarov standing in front of him. The shots on goal are 24-10. Here comes Fedorov's. Pass comes across to Fedorov. He tees it up. Left-hand shot on the right point. Perfect shot. Gusarov, look at Gusarov. He looks at his goaltender, but then he gets lined up, and then at the last minute he moves out of the way. It's off our net cam and in.
16:54, the time of the power play goal. Fedorov, his 4th of the playoffs, and Nicholas Lidstrom gets the assist.
It's not like Mark Messier guaranteeing a win where he can go out even if the goaltender lets a goal in and have a direct effect on the next shift, or Lindros or something like that. When a goaltender does it, you get shut out. There's not much you can do about it.
You know, earlier in the period, I thought about the Messier guaranteed win because in that game, New Jersey had the Rangers on the ropes, 2-0, and Messier led the comeback. You kept thinking Detroit was squandering their power play opportunities, but since that door break, it's been a pair of Detroit goals that really have Mark Crawford's team in deep trouble now.
Well, and more penalty trouble. There was an Adam Foote elbowing penalty, and the puck ends up in the net.
Second time in the series, Detroit has scored more than one power play goal in a game. They did it in game 2. Here's a shot gloved down by Vernon.
Now you can bet Colorado is going to make sure that Fedosov, Konstantinov, Lidstrom, they all feel the effect here with the score 4-0. Paul Dvorsky is now calling a penalty, and I think it's
Fedosov.
Fedosov is going off. He was tangled up with Claude Lemieux. And here's a chance for the Colorado power play. There's Paul Dvorsky, and remember, you can be part of the playoffs 97 by phoning crowd noise 1-900-870-0022. 95 cents a call. You have to be 18 years or older or have your parents' permission. Why not phone and talk about officiating throughout the NHL playoffs or the matchups? We've got 2 great matchups. I think the 4 best teams in the NHL this year are still left.
Fedosov interference. 17:43. You always want to talk about officiating. Let's see what the Avalanche can do with the man advantage. Here's Sakic, a quick pass, loose in front. Ricci can't come up with it. A battle for it. Lemieux there. Now Clem driving it. Ricci rebound. Vernon down. Sakic couldn't knock in the bouncing puck. At the point, it comes to Ozolinsh. He moves in on the backhand, and he whistled that one high, and it's up on the mesh, and play is whistled down. And they can't beat Mike Vernon.
And Paul Dvorsky he might be pointing to the penalty box. I think we might have a freezing the puck, hand on the puck, or is that because the faceoff is going outside? Here comes John Wharton, out to look at Thomas Sandstrom.
And Ricci's headed off.
I don't know. I think it might just be the faceoffs coming outside. Where is Ricci going to the penalty box? It is Ricci going to the penalty box. And Thomas Sandstrom now gets up. Once Ricci is headed to the penalty box, Sandstrom's up. And John Wharton jogs to the Detroit bench. Now Mike Vernon is on a roll. He's playing with such confidence. And when you're playing that way, the puck tends to follow you around and you get hit by shots that you don't see. Vernon didn't see that one. It's off his shoulder. And yet Vernon alertly scrambles. He knows which way it's going. Now here's Mike Ricci. Puck is off the boards, headed to the back of the net. And there's Konstantinov down the chop, and there's the cross-check on Konstantinov's back, and Sandstrom was not the victim of Mike Ricci, it was Konstantinov.
So that happened 30 seconds into the Colorado power play, and a minute 47 to go in the second period. 4-on-4. Foot plays it over on the far side. Messier after it there. He had 10 power play goals in the American Hockey League before called up. Lost it there to Fedorov, and it's sent down the ice. Now Konstantinov with one to the net. That one hit the post, and Brown chops at it, then goes over the glass and out of play. Konstantinov nearly made it 5-0.
Patrick Waugh threw that puck up the boards, and Chris, I think that shot hit Adam Foote. Patrick Waugh comes well out, puck's rolling, he doesn't get much on it. Konstantinov takes the shot, it's going wide, and it hits Adam Foote, and comes right back out in front, and Doug Brown almost banged it in on the back end. Scotty Bowman has Detroit playing a very disciplined style, and Mickey Reckman talking to Ron McLean about the stifling defense, and they've really been able to take the hits and back away and stand up at the blue line very well. They've played as a group such a tight defensive system.
Here's Gusarov. Up ahead it goes. Deadmarsh to Corbett. And a quick glove stop by Vernon.
Crowd hollering Vernie, Vernie after these saves by Mike Vernon. Gusarov jumps through. Nice little pass by Deadmarsh. Here's Corbett. And no rebound. Gusarov tried to go to the net. The defenseman creates some excitement, but Corbett has the shot. Gusarov gets there, but there is no rebound. Vernon with a quick left hand makes the save.
Minute 11 to play in the second period. 4-0 Detroit. Colorado wins the draw. Ozolinsh shot knocked down by Rouse, and he'll just roll it out. Gusarov leaves it for Corbett. Ozolinsh trying to jump up in the rush. Puck went by him, and back out to center ice. Alexei Gusarov. He handed it away. Here's Maltby in, scores!
Well, Alexei Gusarov has not had a very good game, but here's where you might get Craig Billington into the game. Patrick's allowed 5 goals. He's frustrated. I'd get him out of there. Here's the shot by Maltby, and it goes right through Patrick Waugh. Not that Patrick Waugh would have a bad game next game or be rattled, but I just think enough is enough. Shots are 25-15. Maltby right through the legs of Patrick Waugh. I think we might see Craig Billington in the third period.
Kirk Maltby, second of the playoffs. Here comes Kozlov back, 5-0 Detroit. Foot knocked it away from Kozlov, and it comes out to center ice. Well, this third period could be interesting. It has been relatively tame for 3 games and 2 periods, but based on the history of these two teams, with one team up 5-0, The third period may be a change of focus, shall we say. What a second period for Detroit, though. They led 2-0 after one. 3 straight goals in this second period, and they're standing at Joe Louis Arena.
Patrick Waugh skated towards Paul Dvorsky and then thinks better, heads to the bench. Detroit has played very well. They've just been so consistent time and time again, frustrating the Avalanche at the blue line and making the most of the bounces they've been getting tonight.
The breakaway goal by Kozlov made it 3-0. A power play marker by Fedorov at 16:54, and it was 4-0. And Maltby with that last-minute goal, and it is 5-0 Detroit. The shots on goal, 13-11 in favor of Colorado, 25-15 Detroit after 40 minutes as we join Ron.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Adam, thanks, you're a good man for doing this. It's a tough night. I'd like to get, obviously, your thoughts first.
Well, I mean, when we're on our game, we don't have to worry about reffing, that's for sure. But when you got 10 minutes to kill in the first period, playing out away, it's easier for the other team to get emotion, and it's easier for us to get frustrated, and that's where we're at right now.
Can you pinpoint a moment in that first period that really maybe threw the team? The second penalty, I thought the first penalty, Sylvain was probably trying to establish whether or not he could get away with something on the whole. But after that, it looked like a couple of tough calls against your squad.
Well, you know, we questioned it, and he said when Lacroix went down, there was a couple dives, and then Yzerman goes down on a dive, the same thing. And I don't know, I just think in the Stanley Cup Finals, you got to better be sure of too many men call before you call it. And but like I say again, when we're on our game, the refs aren't an issue, and we're just not on our game.
Absolutely, that's well said. Patrick Roy is your roommate, so you know about the leadership in the room. Can you give me a sense of what Mark and Patrick and maybe some of the guys like yourself are trying to do to get your game on track?
Well, you just got to stay with it. You know, there's a lot of competitors, a lot of character. We did it before. We did it last year, and, you know, by no means we're going to quit. You know, this game's going to be tough to get back in, but we just want to regroup, and Patrick Roy's a winner, and so is the rest of the guys in that team. We're just facing a lot of adversity, and too bad we couldn't get the ball in their court and see how they face it, because they haven't had to face any of the series.
Right. We saw it happen at the Memorial Cup. Tough task, but you're the champs, and that shows you won't quit. Good luck.
Thank you.
Adam Foote. Thanks to Adam for joining us here. The Detroit Red Wings obviously having a good run so far in Game 4. We'll go down to the benches and show you how they're rectifying the problem there next on Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. Pretty much in hand, 5-0 after 40 minutes here at Joe Louis Arena. John Pettit's the manager here. John, you're watching the work that's just been completed. Tell us what had to happen at the Colorado bench.
Well, what we ended up having to do is we had to change the top hinge on the gate. The well broke when the gate was open and someone hit pretty close, and it snapped the weld, so we got a jerry rig for the rest of the second period, and we just replaced the entire hinge right now.
And that's done. So both benches were cordoned off the similar way with clamps, and now that's been rectified. We can see that.
Right. Everything's all set.
Good work to all your staff there. Thanks very much for your help. Never like a scramble in the playoffs when you have to fix a bench for, lucky wasn't Scotty's bench, right? Okay, the Eastern Conference Final, as you know, stands at 2-1 for the Philadelphia Flyers as they keep switching goalies and making it work. Let's look ahead. After all that snow, Ron Hextall bundled up to hold the fort for the Flyers as they roared into New York 2 nights ago.
Shot deflected in front of Richter and wide of the net. The Rangers can't get it out. Here's a chance. Lindros scores. Lindros blasts a high shot. Up comes Courtnall. And the shot of week 1 from Samuelson. He stumbled at the far side. Loose puck in front. He scores! Knocked down at center ice. Flyers 2-on-1. Klett deals it off. Comes in. Scores! Klett on a 2-on-1. Tikkanen coming over the line. Dropped the pass. Right in there, but it's broken up, and the shot went by Gretzky and out. Break. Brind'Amour scores!
Flyers lead the series 2-1. Game 4 tomorrow evening. For more on that, let's go now to Scott Russell and Harry Neal.
Well, the Rangers are down 2-1 to the Philadelphia Flyers in the Eastern Conference Final. They had a snappy practice at the Rye Playland today. Most notable skated with the exception of Brian Leach, but the word is that he will play on Friday. Harry, this is a team that's down 2-1, but with a lot of personnel that's been through this before.
Well, we know that Messier and Gretzky and Tikkanen, 3 former Oilers, have been in series that they've been behind in, that they've lost the last game in, and more often than not, those 3 guys come up with better efforts than in the game they lost, and I fully expect you'll see the real Mark Messier, and you'll see Gretzky at his best, and Tikkanen somehow will worm in there and be a factor. So Philadelphia will have their hands full tomorrow because the Rangers know they better win this one if they want this series to go a while.
Would it be fair to say that Mike Richter hasn't given the Rangers his best game in this series yet?
I'm not so sure we can say that. I think 2 things. One, the Rangers have allowed their opponent, the Flyers, to have better chances than they allowed Florida and New Jersey to have. And they've also contending with the fact that Philadelphia is a much more dangerous offensive team. So the combination of more good chances and a better offensive team means Richter, I think, has had a more difficult time putting up with better shots. And I don't think he's stolen a game yet, but I certainly don't think Richter's a problem for the New York Rangers.
A last one, is this a team, the Rangers, that's just got too many injuries to compete here?
You know, I really admire the Rangers. Every player you talk to will not in any way, shape, or form allow the injuries to become any kind of an excuse. They say they knew they were going to get injuries. They knew if you go this far in the playoffs, you have to play through injuries, and they're quite confident the guys that go in will do a good job, and it would be an easy excuse, but they're not using it.
All right, well, they've got their work cut out for them. The Rangers down 2-1 to the Philadelphia Flyers. Game 4 at Madison Square Garden Friday night at 7:30 Eastern.
This you're gonna like.
CBC. If the situation doesn't change, we're dead.
Tough questions.
You still an
City, it's 5-0. The Detroit Red Wings lead the Colorado Avalanche through 2 periods of play here in the Western Final Game 4. Let's look at the guilty hinge. This, of course, was a traditional hinge that you'd have on any working door. And as you know, the pin runs down through the middle. What happened was the pin sheared off right there. You get a good look at this sheared off pin, and that clogged up the works. The only way to fix this was with a welder's torch, which you have seen has been done here at Joe Louis Arena. There's a guy right down from Prince George or Kamloops, BC, Darryl Ray. Remember the great Hartford Whaler, Edmonton Oiler goaltender? Those goalies know all about hinges. He explained it to me. We'll come back and continue our coverage of the 1997 Stanley Cup playoffs on Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC, where it's 5-0 Detroit through 2. With Red Wing coach Dave Lewis. Dave, I thought Adam Foote said it well. When we're on our game, penalties wouldn't be our concern, but obviously you got a big jump. Did you call that too many men?
I was yelling a lot and had 6 fingers up in the air, so there was a lot of guys yelling no, and you know, we just came out, we had a good start, and we just wanted to continue on, and that's what we've done so far. So there's another period to go here, Ron.
You sure have played well. What did you say in your meeting? I know you went in with Scotty. Have you said anything to the players about not rubbing it in, or?
No, nothing like that. No, we just want to keep our focus. That's been our whole key for this series to date, and that's what we want to do, keep our focus.
Well, the defense, everybody's doing a great job, so are you. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Dave Lewis and the Red Wings rolling 5-0 here after 40 minutes. Third period action coming up on Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC.
Joe Louis Arena are chanting, "We want Wob." But in this third period, they get Craig Billington, as you called, late in the second period.
Well, that's a good play by Mark Crawford. He knows he can come back with Patrick Waugh. It's not going to shake his confidence, and why embarrass him here in Game 4?
Here's Larry Murphy over the line to Shanahan, and Billington's first test comes 20 seconds in. Ricci starts back the other way. The Avalanche back at full strength now, as Ricci is taken to the end boards, continues the battle. Yell now with it, watched by Lidstrom. Yell is able to knock it free, and Ricci is there to come up with it. Murphy there for Detroit. Now Yell puts it in front of the net, and Murphy will send it around the boards, past foot, and out to center. You heard Dave Lewis talk about Detroit maintaining their focus in the third. Here's Yzerman in front, a chance at Sandstrom, stopped by Billington. This penalty coming up against Detroit as it's driven in. And Sandstrom goes after the puck. There's Billington, who's gone to the bench. Sandstrom shot it at the open net but missed, and we've got a penalty coming up against the Red Wings.
And that was a very late call from Paul Dvorsky. It's going to be an interference call on the goaltender by Thomas Sandstrom. And Sandstrom has had 3 great scoring chances tonight and can't beat either goaltender. Craig Billington makes the save. He gets up, and then Sandstrom bumps him, and Billington does a good acting job. And he looked over and got the penalty call for Paul Dvorsky.
Now you wonder in this day of videotape motivation, do the Colorado Avalanche play the highlights of that Lethbridge comeback against Hull at the Memorial Cup in the second intermission? 5 goals down, and on the power play, led by Kaminsky. Shooting glove down by Vernon. Here's Lemieux along the boards, couldn't handle it, and it'll be Fedorov chopping it down the ice. Avalanche is out there with Lemieux, Forsberg, Kaminsky, and Sakic. All that firepower, and it's been muzzled tonight. And Doug Brown sends it right back down the ice.
And again, Colorado can't get it in deep. Barely across the blue line. Detroit challenged, got it out.
Sakic kicked it ahead, driven back by Murphy. Is this a let's win the third period approach by Colorado?
Something to build on for the next game. Don't embarrass ourselves.
Here's Maltby wheeling it again, broken up by Avalanche. Maltby takes him to the boards. Now Lemieux with under a minute to go on the power play. Up to Ricci. Mike Ricci laid it around behind the net. Rouse is there, and he can't get it past Deadmarsh. Draper gets it out.
Well, you can bet Colorado will play a much more physical game.
Here's Deadmarsh, checked by Larionov. Vernon lost the puck. Ricci threw it in front. And Yzerman is there. Took a hack from Avalanche, and Yzerman down. And a penalty coming up for Avalanche on the slash against the Detroit captain. So much for the power play now. 24 seconds left.
I think Paul Dvorsky's going to have his work cut out for him here in the third period. Sandis Ozolich with the two-hander on Steve Yzerman. And again, you get those hands very close together near the top of the stick, and it looks even worse than it might be. Here's Ozo with the hands right together as he chops at Yzerman. Off he goes.
So in 24 seconds, Sandstrom's back out, and Detroit will enjoy another power play. And it will be the 9th man advantage for the Red Wings in the game.
I think the penalties will probably, well, I don't think they'll even out. I think Colorado will get more. But after you get 5 in a row, it doesn't really matter. If the ref evens it out later on in the game could be out of hand, as this one obviously is now.
We'll have a real story in the third period if these penalties even out.
Yes, we will.
Fedosov back in his own zone. 3 minutes into the third period.
It's hard to get those pockets with the marbles even after you start 5-0.
Now Konstantinov's on the move. He drops for Fedorov. There's Kozlov. Back to Fedorov. Sandstrom's on the ice now. And Detroit has the extra man. Sergei Fedorov has really turned it up, a goal and an assist in this game. 12 points in the last 10 games. After starting the playoffs with no points in the first 4 against St. Louis. Fedosov will start Detroit up. There's LaPointe checked by Miller. And a minute left in power play time for the Red Wings as Keane intercepted a pass. Now Yzerman. No ill effects of the slash, gets it to Murphy. And across it comes to Fedosov. Shanahan. Mentioned 20 power play goals for Shanahan during the year. That was one shy of the team record. Mickey Redmond and Dino Ciccarelli shared that with 21 for Detroit. Now Murphy takes a bump from Sakic. And Yzerman takes the puck away. 20 seconds left in the power play. As Yzerman slowly works through center. Nice move on Young. Over the line. Almost had McCarty's from free. Now Yzerman's on it again. Drops for Lidstrom. There's McCarty. Over it goes to Bob Rouse. He takes a shot. That one doesn't get through. Now Ozolin's back on the ice. Shanahan tries to center it, and Billington blocked that against the side of the net. 4:54 gone in the third period, with the Red Wings comfortably in front.
Bowman keeps talking about how the Avalanche missed Uwe Krupp. Well, there's Keith Jones in behind Rob McLean. Well, there, Rob. There's Keith Jones. The Avalanche miss him. He's an aggressive, good forechecker. He's got good hands, can score some goals, and they haven't had a forecheck against Detroit. Jones would help that.
Here's a shot by Aaron Ward, steered away by Billington. I think one of the most remarkable stats, and you don't want to put the hex on Detroit, but 106 man games lost this year by injury. That is an incredible record when you consider teams like Washington, so many teams injury plagued this year. But Detroit avoided the big injury. There's Kosar wraparound. Mulkey scores! Mulkey!
Kirk Maltby looks up. He goes to the net. Kosar the wraparound. Maltby's there at the net. Nobody takes him. He has lots of time. Pulls it by Craig Billington. No chance for Billington. And the Avalanche defense nowhere in sight. Billington makes a good save on the wraparound, but the rebound comes out. There's nobody there. And Billington can't get over in time. Maltby with all sorts of time to beat the new Avalanche goaltender.
So the Guelph native hadn't had a postseason goal until this year. Now he has 2 tonight and 3 in the 97 Stanley Cup playoffs. And it's 6-0 Red Wings. Here's Sakic centering it across. Lapointe, he added an extra assist on a goal in the second period, and Martin Lapointe is now credited with 3 assists in the game. And Kirk Maltby has a pair of goals.
Number 2 in this game, number 18.
Scotty Bowman using all his lines. And much like game 2, Mark's hair is getting a little messier as this one progresses.
The fact he's used 4 lines has certainly proved beneficial late in the games. After 40 minutes, Detroit has really dominated the third period and overtime of games in these playoffs, outscoring their opposition now 18-6 in the third. And that is also including 3 overtime goals against Anaheim. Here's Keane playing it in behind the net, centered back to Ozolinch. He knocked it loose. Now it's Kaminsky on it. Here's Kaminsky for Ozolinch, and he couldn't get a stick on it. Keane whips it high. Lapointe on the far side chops it out. There's Shanahan cruising at center. Moving up. Now on the play is Fedosov to Larionov. Back to Fedosov, and Billington made the stop. Igor Larionov with a pair of first period goals, looking for his first Stanley Cup playoff hat trick.
And passing the puck off to Fedosov. And I'm sure Mike Vernon's not too thrilled about this, that Slava Fedosov is down in the slot looking for a goal in a 6-0 game, but Detroit is having their way right now with the Avalanche. Brendan Shanahan gains the blue line. Nice little touch pass. Fedosov to Larionov. Now Fedosov goes right to the net. He gets a return pass on the rebound. Gusarov comes back, finally clears it.
Here's Fedorov at center ice. Pass knocked down by Miller. Doug Brown goes after it, and he'll fire it in. Off Millington, loose Kozlov, and Miller sprawled to save his goaltender there as Kozlov had an empty net. Well, it just gets worse for Colorado.
John Wharton, the athletic trainer for the Detroit Red Wings, is opening a physical fitness center called the Training Room this summer. Well, in January, the Detroit Red Wings went into a slump. They were 2-5-2, and the coaches felt they were getting out of shape. So Wharton set up the program for them, and he got Steve Yzerman to buy into it right away. And the Detroit Red Wings are probably the best conditioned team now in the NHL. Barry Smith came back from Sweden. He works with them too, and that's another reason they're so strong in the third periods.
And we've got more penalties coming up. With 12:47 to go.
Eric Messier for holding. I thought it was slashing. Eric Messier broke his stick on Doug Brown. Here it is, slash on Brown. The stick goes off, and Eric Messier takes the slash. You can't break their stick. When you break your stick, it's going to be an automatic. And Messier, that wasn't that bad. It wasn't like Ozelinch's two-hander, but he broke his stick and ends up in the penalty box.
And it's the 10th power players. Yzerman through, and McCarty shot it wide. Yell takes Yzerman to the boards, but the captain stays with it. Back it comes to Konstantinov. Around it goes. Sandstrom's behind the net. He lost possession. Adam Foote up against Yzerman. Now Konstantinov. Over to Fedosov. Spots Yzerman. McCarty trying to get loose in front. Now Konstantinov shooting, and that hit McCarty. Fedosov moves up. Sandstrom plays it around. And there's Yzerman. Yzerman turned the momentum of this series around with that great third period in Colorado, with the Avalanche leading the series. Now Konstantinov shot, rebound, and it comes back to Fedosov. Konstantinov takes a look, back to Fedosov, shooting, and that one blasting wide. And it'll come up to center with 52 seconds left in the Messier minor. 10th power play of the game for Detroit. Here's Sandstrom tied up with Gusarov. Back to Konstantinov. Now Yzerman, he's taking hacks from Keane. Foot played it off the point, and it comes to Konstantinov. Flipping it back in. Billington had trouble with it, and now pounces on the loose puck.
The shots on goal very one-sided in the first period, 14-2. They're now 9-0 here in the third in favor of Detroit. 34-15 total. And Martin Lapointe gets to stand in front of Craig Billington instead of Patrick Waugh. Adam Foote goes to the bench. Colorado has won a couple of these games in the playoffs. They beat Chicago 6-0 and 7-0. Here's the wrist shot. It goes off Joe Sakic's stick, and Craig Billington didn't spot it. And that's why he had so much trouble with it, able to hang on.
Well, with defending Stanley Cup champions being in trouble in the 90s, nothing new about that. The only repeat winner in this decade, Pittsburgh, 91-92. The Avalanche will be down 3-1 to an impressive Red Wing team heading back to Colorado on Saturday night. Penalty over, and now a pass up ahead. Here's a long shot by Lacroix. Rebound, Corbet went after it. Knocked away, and Shanahan is at center ice. He'll drop it off. Kosar over the line. Back for Shanahan. He twists at the line. Now sends it over Bob Rouse, and that's blocked by Lacroix. Rouse to Shanahan. He fired it in there, and ouch, that hurt Joey Kosar in front of the net, and Kosar's on the limp. Kosar on one skate, gliding to the Detroit bench. Here's Draper. Up against Foote. Draper taken to the glass. Here's Kirk Maltby. Now center, Draper, quick shot on Billington. And out comes Deadmarsh, couldn't get loose at center. We passed the midway point of the third period. Icing waved off, Ozelinch back to play it. And it's put over on the other side, Deadmarsh misplayed it, and it's Brown. Fedorov trailing, Ozelinch on him. Should Fedorov though. Now lost it. And Deadmarsh sends Ricci back, and there's some heavy stick work going on.
And Foot. I think Adam Foot is going to get the only penalty.
And you can tell now, John, this is not very far from breaking out.
And there's Claude Lemieux now. And
a lot of stick work on that last shift. And it's finally starting to boil over.
Oh, and here we've got Gord Brosiker had Mike Ricci, and now he's going over with, oh, and Adam Deadmarsh is throwing a punch. Oh, he landed that punch.
Fedorov and Lemieux. Kozlov is dancing with Ozolinsh, and here's Foot and Konstantinov.
And Adam Deadmarsh knocked Fedosov down with one punch.
Now Fedosov trying to get back at Deadmarsh. But the main event is Foot and Konstantinov.
A wrestling match. Doug Brown and Mike Ricci are close enough if anything happens. There's Gord Brosiker trying to get in between them. There's a look at Deadmarsh and Fedosov.
And I would have doubled the bet Rod McLean made in the second period that this type of thing was going to happen here in the third.
Brent Sever's not dressed for the Avalanche. He's one of their tougher guys.
Well, Konstantinov and Foot are in the penalty box. Now Deadmarsh and Fedosov continue their wrestle. But the last 30 seconds of that shift, there was some chopping going on, and you could just tell.
Well, Adam Foot was getting the original penalty for a slash on Slava Kozlov. And as you say, Chris, this was bound to happen in a 6-0 game with the reputation and the history that these two teams have.
9:25 to go.
Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC website throughout the Stanley Cup playoffs. Our address is www.nhl-cbc-cup.com.
And Paul Dvorsky over trying to sort this out. Less than 10 minutes left. This is what I thought he might do, is get some misconducts going to get rid of what he thinks are going to be some flashpoints. So Claude Lemieux.
Claude Lemieux, a flashpoint?
Claude Lemieux is over at the bench. He might be headed to the dressing room. I don't know. Paul Dvorsky might be trying to get rid of some of the headaches that could be upcoming. Sandis Ozolinsh, who was at the penalty box, now he is over at the bench. Joey Koser came out and gave it the quick spin, but he's still hobbled by that ankle where he took the shot from Brendan Shanahan. And on the last power play, he was standing in front of the net. And Scotty Bowman might need Joey Koser before this one's over.
During that break, he came out, tested the ankle, and he's still in some difficulty.
Remember,
Adam Foot, they've got 4 minutes up for Adam Foot. That's the only penalty they have up on the board. Now here's Joey Koser standing in front of Craig Billington, providing the screen. And instead of the screen, he gets hit right on the ankle. And that was a one-timer from Brendan Shanahan, and you can bet that hurt.
Well, the scoreboard here urging the fans to make noise, and they've been making noise with this 6-goal explosion all night long. I think Fedorov and Lemieux are going to get away with nothing here, so the flashpoints may still be around. Although I don't know if Fedorov has ever been considered a flashpoint in that regard.
This guy is Vlad Konstantinov. He's over talking to Paul Dvorsky, and Slava Fedosov now is, I think Paul Dvorsky is saying you can go to the dressing room. He might be done.
10 minutes, 35 seconds. For Colorado, number 18, Adam Deadmarsh, a 10-minute misconduct. Colorado's number 52, Adam Foot, 2 minutes for high sticking, 2 minutes for instigating, 5 minutes for fighting, and a 10-minute misconduct. Detroit penalties. Number 2 via Czeslaw Fetisov. 2 minutes for roughing plus a 10-minute misconduct. Detroit penalty number 16, Vladimir Konstantinov, 5 minutes for fighting.
So the
Serving
net
the
result
minor for Colorado, number 48, Scott Young.
4 minutes of penalties to Foot, and Detroit will enjoy more power play time here with 9:25 to go.
And Mark Crawford, it's Scott Bowman trying to absorb what they can do now after all those penalties. Deadmarsh and Foot have gone to the dressing room. And Mark trying to get Paul Dvorsky's attention.
Well, tomorrow night, Madison Square Garden, Rangers will try to get even with the Flyers. Bob Cole, Harry Neal, Scott Russell, Greg Millen on hand for the 7:30 Eastern start. And then Saturday, Patrick Waugh will be back in, and will the Avalanche be able to stave off elimination? 38 minutes assessed by Paul Dvorsky from that last scrum, and now the Red Wings go to the power play again. Larionov is out there with Lapointe and Shanahan, Murphy and Lidstrom. Here's Murphy, watched by Yell. Keane, the other penalty killer. Shanahan will send it in. Billington stops it behind the net. He'll play it around, and Shanahan's there. Leaves it for Larionov. And that's knocked by Keane past Murphy. And Keane was upended. And we've got an injured Red Wing. It's Larionov down, away from the play. Igor Larionov is on the limp, and play's been whistled down.
During the regular season, you could bet Scotty Bowman, well, of course, against Colorado he might, but against most teams, he wouldn't have his 8 power play out there in a 6-0 game. But he's got his 8 power play out there now, and he won't have after this shift. Igor Larionov is in obvious difficulty trying to get to the bench. And there goes John Morton following him to the dressing room. Now Mike Keane goes in against Larionov, and it's a chop behind the leg, and that's better than a twist. Here's the chop by Keane on Larionov's leg, and he stayed up until he tried to hook at Keane, and then he limped off, so I assume Larionov's not hurt that badly.
Here's Sandstrom pounding it in on Billington. Cleared out by Sakic to center ice. 8:12 to go, third period. Red Wings 2 for 10 with the power play tonight. They've been busy. Here comes Yzerman with McCarty trying to throw it back, and Sakic was there. Up ahead for Gusarov, and he'll get it to the Detroit line. Minute and a half gone in the double minor, part of the Foot penalty assessment. Ward over the line, dropped for Yzerman. He puts it into the slot, kicked away there by Gusarov. And now Corbet up to Aaron Miller. Shoot in, blocked by Ward. Messier and Miller back there now for Colorado. Up to Corbet, and he'll just deflect it in. And 2 minutes gone in the double minor to Adam Foote. Here's a pass ahead for Fedorov. It's by Corbet. Fedorov just drops it off, and Murphy will go for a skate. And looks like Detroit is eager to kill the clock now, as Colorado is to kill the penalty.
Looks like Detroit is trying to score on one rush only. Got the Russian weave going. Doug Brownoff part of it.
Brownoff's back out there. He was saying that he played kind of a weave style, skating style of hockey in high school and at Boston University, so he wasn't used to dump and chase hockey. He seemed to fit in right away when playing with Kozlov and Fedorov. And that puck flipped over the glass out of play, and now every whistle might draw something. There's Joey Kocur, and he's in the midst of it. Ward has words with Claude Lemieux.
And over comes Kozlov now. Kozlov and Lemieux, and here comes Aaron Ward again.
That's Eric Messier that was underneath Joey Kocur.
And there's Lemieux and Kozlov, and now here we go again. This is going to erupt. It looks like it's going to erupt.
Lefebvre holding off.
Bob Rouse comes over and grabs Lemieux's stick.
Somebody's trying to get at Lemieux. Aaron Ward is being held up by Lefebvre. Now Rouse is trying to get over there. Kozlov gets his stick up with Lemieux. There's no doubt they're trying to get to Lemieux, and the only Red Wing in his neighborhood is Kozlov, who's the smallest guy out there.
Oh, well, Lemieux gives him a little chop from the side, and now the linesmen are ushering the players right to the dressing rooms here at Paul Dvorsky. As I said, the flashpoint might be Claude Lemieux.
What was your first hit? Round 4, an emphatic win for Detroit here this evening. Game 5 of the Western Finals Saturday night. And can the defending Stanley Cup champions regroup against Mr. Konstantinov and company 2 nights from now?
Well, Mark Crawford has had Peter Forsberg on the bench in this one-sided game. Joe Sakic hasn't played much. Forsberg has only had 1 shift this period. But Mark's bench is getting so thin now with more guys going to the dressing room that he might have to play Sakic and Forsberg a little more. Joey Kocur has 4 minutes up on his side of the penalty clock. I assume he'll get the instigator penalty and all this. And there's Kocur. He's talking to Brian Murphy now, and off to the dressing room he goes. And I'm sure Patrick Waugh wishes he was a forward now to vent some of that frustration. There's nothing more disappointing for a goaltender to get all wound up, and he'd like to get physically involved to let some steam off and then have to stand there at the bench.
You think he wants a rematch with Vernon?
5 for fighting and a 10-minute misconduct. For Colorado, number 22, Claude Lemieux, 10-minute misconduct. Detroit penalties. Number 27, Aaron Ward, 5 minutes for fighting in a 10-minute misconduct. For Detroit, number 26, Joe Kocur, 4 minutes for roughing, plus a 10-minute misconduct. Penalties called at 13 minutes, 26 seconds.
And now we've got something going at the benches here. The bench is very close here in Detroit. Mike Keane and Darren McCarty talking it over. Now you can bet there'll be misconducts here.
Well, remember Keane's comments after the March 26 game, accusing Detroit of having no heart and waiting till they got back to their rink for the rough stuff to take place. He said he wanted to play them in the playoffs. And we're over 100 minutes in penalties.
Now here's Mike Keane. He's yapping at Thomas Sandstrom, and then McCarty jabbed him with the stick. Now, Gord Brossiker was there. You cannot do that. Mike Keane, verbal abuse, but McCarty caught Keane with the stick.
And more misconducts apparently as Keane is headed to the bench, to the dressing room, although he is standing in the tunnel momentarily, had words for somebody in the stands.
And now both linesmen are still over there to maintain the peace. And how would you like to be the cameraman in between the two benches? I don't think I'd like to be there. There's Martin Lapointe. He is the closest one to the Colorado bench. Put your weightlifter down at the one end. That's what Scotty Bowman has, Martin Lapointe.
Yes, the 405-pound bench press. But Scotty Bowman, when they lost to Colorado last year, he beefed this team up. And they can handle the physical going now.
Darren McCarty got off easy with the 10-minute misconduct along with Mike Keane.
So under 6.5 minutes to go. And the team's playing 4 skaters aside right now. And then Colorado will go on the power play in 50 seconds when Foote's double minor is over. Here's Kamensky moving in. He's taken off the puck by Fedorov, and Yzerman turns the other way. And behind the play, Murphy got his stick up.
Well, it's going to be Rennie Corbeil for cruising in and catching Mike Vernon's skate. And Mike Vernon went down, and Corbeil is going to go off. And there goes part of that power play that the Colorado Avalanche were going to enjoy. Now here's Corbeil. He's right through the crease, and this is a good call. Corbeil knows what he's doing. He's not pushed in, and he catches Vernon. The blue area is to protect the goaltender. Besides all these disallowed goals, you cannot have Rennie Corbeil skating through just to hit the goaltender, and that's what he did.
Well, there's slim pickings now. We've got Corbeil and Young serving a penalty on this near side. We've got 160 penalty minutes in the game now. Most of them in this third period. There's not many guys left at the Colorado bench, though.
Now, who does this song, In the Jungle, the Mighty Jungle, as we have turned this into a jungle here in the third period?
Thought that was MSG. That's tomorrow night. Philadelphia.
I think it was the Kingsmen.
And the Rangers. And the puck sent down the ice by Colorado. More your era. 5:50 to play. 4-on-3 Detroit right now with the power play as Sakic turns Murphy back. 6-0 Detroit. Fedorov and Yzerman. Nice pass up to Shanahan. Shanahan stopped by Billington. Shanahan picks it up again. Tries to feed it back. Here's Larry Murphy. Over to Fedorov. Young serving the Foote double minor back on the ice. 4-on-4 now. And it's Sakic sending it over right side. Young got the big shot, and he whistled that one just wide. Lapointe's on the ice now for the Red Wings. Here's Martin Lapointe, 3 assists in the game. He'll turn back as the Red Wings complete their change. Now Draper dances in. Chris Draper, and Billington got a piece of that. Kept in by Lidstrom. And now it's Aaron Miller to slow things down. Under 5 minutes to go. Messier. And that goes off Eric Lacroix down the ice. Lacroix tried to block it. It goes to Doug Brown. Nicholas Lidstrom watched by Kamensky. Lidstrom turns back the other way and gives it to Draper. Long shoot in, and there is Lapointe from a bad angle. Messier chopping at Lapointe as it comes out to center.
Now they're hollering Crawford. They went from Patrick Waugh, we want Waugh to Crawford.
Well, Mark Crawford's comments after this game will be interesting. When asked about the dangers of losing Game 4, he said losing was not an option. Well, what are his options now going into Game 5.
Shots on goal here in the third period, 13-1.
At center ice, Gusarov hounded by Sandstrom, who takes it away. Sandstrom knocked down by Gusarov, and he'll take over. 3 minutes, 33 seconds to go in the game, and now it's the Avalanche with a power play. 53 seconds left in Koser's double minor. There's Sandstrom, and he'll just get rid of it down the ice. Well, the shots were 14-2 in the first period. Colorado really never got on track. Igor Larionov, the first 2 goals of the game, then Kozlov, Fedorov, and a pair by Kirk Maltby. Miller bounces it back in. Mike Vernon shovels it into the corner. Moving up is Messier. And it's Yzerman sending it down the ice.
And it's hard to build any confidence playing the way the Colorado Avalanche are playing now, but at this time of year, it's something that you just have to regroup after the game. You're frustrated, you're down, you're being completely outplayed, and it's showing in every aspect of the game now.
Red Wings back at full strength. And now Clem back to get it for Colorado. Up at center ice. Here's Lacroix to the line. He can't get over it. Another penalty coming up. And we've got more rough stuff. LaPointe and Corbet. That's a bit of a mismatch.
And so Eric Lacroix came jumping in. And now Corbet is... Whoa.
Now Shanahan on Corbet. Rennie Corbet is in tough either way.
Lapointe went right after Corbet for running Mike Vernon. And in a 6-0 game, the way Vernon's playing, this is a reaction to Detroit. You don't let anybody run your goalie. And Corbet ran the goalie.
Paul Dvorsky standing over them, waiting for the linesmen who are separating others, Lapointe and Lacroix. In the meantime, Shanahan is all over Corbet.
And Brian Murphy now has Lacroix very close to the penalty box. And Gord Brossiger is trying to get Lapointe off the ice.
And they are still scrumming just to the side of Mike Vernon.
Well, that was one of the knocks on the Detroit Red Wings team of last year. They didn't have that edge.
I think Corbet's been hurt, and they're motioning for some assistance here.
Looks like he's dazed and confused after the battle with Brendan Shanahan.
Last year it was the Avalanche that roughed up the Red Wings. This year there's Shanahan and a few others that make this Detroit team a much tougher unit to tango with. And obviously Corbet's been cut on the fall to the ice.
Well, he looks all right now. He looks fairly alert. Cairns is out. Checking with Corbet. And it was first Lapointe that went after Corbet, and then Brendan Shanahan. Now Shanahan already has the cut, and it looks like Shanahan landed on Corbet, and his head hit the ice. And Corbet's off under his own power, cut the back of his head. And now, here we go, Mark Crawford and Scotty Bowman.
Well, we saw this last year. We have not seen it in this series. Crawford and Bowman.
Here comes Mike Kruzhelnyski and Mike Foligno. Ooh, that Mike Foligno, I would bet on Mike Foligno in this battle.
And Crawford apparently challenging the Detroit bench.
And here's Gord Brossiger getting in between. Ryan Murphy comes over. And now somebody has thrown something from the stands.
And one of the Avalanche players trying to restrain Mark Crawford. That looks like Stefan Yell.
Mark Crawford was pretty tough. I saw him go a few times, a left-hander, so I wonder if Scotty knows that when you get in a fight, you like to know which way the guy throws him. Well, Mark Crawford's a left-hander. Now Kurt Maltby is over there.
Now Scotty Bowman trying to pull everybody off, but obviously it's not done on the Colorado side as Foligno leans over.
You wonder about the coaches' conferences after this. It might be Mike Foligno or Jacques Cloutier for Colorado and maybe Barry Smith for Detroit handling the conference after this game.
Now we're getting close to the point where there will be more penalties in this game than there were on March 26th.
Well, there's going to be some fines probably from all this.
Well,
and here comes Scotty back. And now Steve Yzerman is trying to play the peacemaker.
I know who I want to hear from right now. Let's go downstairs. Ron McLean, Don Cherry.
All right, Chris, good idea. Don, what do you think?
Well, it's easy, you know, people I can say sitting home, why would Crawford act like that? He's seen his, 7 penalties to score. I mean, I actually put myself in his spot all year down the drain. Pretty tough to come back on this team now. And the icing, I go right back to that icing. That's what threw the whole team off. Although you got to figure that Detroit's too powerful. They've got everything going for them. Shanahan, I wouldn't have had Shanahan out there. I said that just before I'd keep Shanahan out there because could break his hand or something in the fight because they were spoiling for it. And I feel sorry for them. I feel sorry that Crawford, because I kind of coach like Crawford, and I've gone through what he's gone through, and I probably would have done the same thing. I did it in the World Tournament, challenging everybody. He's a competitor. That's why he's Coach of the Year. That's why they won the Stanley Cup.
You know, the March mayhem, Paul Dvorsky was the referee involved. Everything that's gone on here tonight, of course, the huge deficit. It's just like you had a sense the lid could go, and of course.
Absolutely. When you run up a big score, you know, and you get, and I'll say it again, and I don't care. I'm saying it. I've never seen it. 7-1 in penalties in the first period, and you know there's going to be trouble. And I hate to see a great goaltender like Pat Roy. He's thrown off on the whole thing, sitting there like that. It really bothers me when I see stuff like that because I'm still a hockey player, and I get emotional like the same as. I'm not playing with Scotty. I mean, he's over there, but Crawford is still a hockey player. He looks like a hockey player, and he acts like a hockey player. And you knew when they run up the score something was going to happen. Luckily, they don't have Chris Simon.
What do you think? It's like Mark's got a particular point he's trying to make.
Well, one of the things he's ticked off about that I know of, too, Fedosov up there when the score is 6-1, trying to score. That's an indication. A chicken can't say what it is. When a score is 6-1 and the defenseman's up there playing your power play, you know, your full power play, and I got up at 6-1, my big stars never hit the ice. There's Fedosov up there trying to jam it in. That, you people say, why is he talking about that? That bothers hockey people like that. That's an indication of guys, you know, trying to rub it in.
That's what I said to Dave Lewis. I thought that might have been the core of their meeting.
Yeah.
It evidently wasn't that, for one, and it obviously wasn't don't fight. You know, say what you will, I'm sure the point will be raised. Detroit's got some toughness in their lineup, and Colorado's not got Chris Simon or a guy like that to cruise in a situation like this. Not that you'd recommend it. Do you think that would have made any difference?
No, well, I always, you know, Chris Simon's a good friend of mine, just having him around, but they didn't have him last year when he was when they won the Cup, so it's easy to say they made a bad trade. They just had too many good players out there, and I'm talking like it's over, and it is over. Jones out. I mean, and Huey Krupp, I've heard Scotty on the radio and on TV. The very first thing he mentions is Huey Krupp.
He discovered him.
Yeah.
He brought him out of Germany.
I didn't know that, but he's the guy. Oh, yeah, it's Buffalo. Eh? Yeah, I'll tell you one thing right now. When you lose a guy like that, big, solid guy back there, Jones, 25 goals. I mean, you just can't have those guys yell and ease out. Forsberg hasn't been a force at all since he's got hurt. So everything's gone against them. They have not played a good game in the whole playoffs, or not in this series so far.
One other note, you know, there's been nothing really. It's arduous to watch this play out, but it's nothing particularly vile. Do you think it'll help Colorado? Do you think they can build around this?
Yeah, I think that this is good. When the old story again, when I was with the Boston Bruins, they used to say, "What's the difference? It's 2-1." I mean, you notice Brossinger won't go over and talk to him. I'm not on him, but again, that icing just, I can't say enough how that throws the team off. It's a sad thing when you see a guy like Mark Crawford, Roy, and stuff like that. But like I said, they haven't played a good game. But he's a competitor, see? And he's not giving up. Hey, the easy thing for Mark Crawford was to, like a lot of coaches that I've seen, when the score gets 7-1, go against the glass and fall asleep and blame it all on the players. He's trying to get these players for the next game. They'll be sky high the next game, I'll tell you that right now. He won't let them be down. And maybe this is what they needed to get them going. They have not played well. They have had no jump whatsoever. Maybe this will get a little pride in them.
You know, 11 teams have come back from 3-1 deficits since '87. Chris and John, I know you're listening in upstairs, and probably a million thoughts have popped into your head as you listen along. If you've got a question for Don or you want to add to that, John?
Well, I know exactly what Grapes is saying. When you are a player, it's hard to take the player out of you. And that's Mark Crawford. He's a player. He always was a player, even last year. And you try and be refined. You try and act like a real respectable coach. But you can't take the player out of the guy. And I know, Chris, you think I'm anti-official, but that's a lot of the player in me that comes out. Because when you were a player, you feel that you've been cheated. And I think Don expressed that on that too many men on the ice penalty, on the icing call. Colorado had to feel cheated by that call.
You're not anti-official, you just keep them honest.
Yes.
We're up to 226 penalty minutes tonight. You know, it's interesting that Don comes back to the power plays really dictated the way this went tonight. You think Paul Dvorsky came in here saying, I'm going to call penalties tonight so it doesn't get out of hand, and it's the same result. Here's Vernon down to make the stop as he tries to preserve the only undecided issue tonight, whether or not Colorado will score on it.
And there was Mike Ricci going to the net, and again, pushing and shoving after the whistle. And Grapes was great. He'd control himself, but every now and then, the player in him would come out, and you can see the player, the banging the stick on the boards, that kind of behavior. And you get Mike Keenan and Roger Nielsen and guys who had played as junior but had never played at the pro level, and they're able to control themselves because they don't feel that same kind of fire inside that after 20 years of playing pro, it still burns. And you get in a game like this where it's 6-0 and you really feel that you have to let it out. And
so you buy Grapes' theory that this might be a boost for Colorado going into the next game, just to see the coach playing with that emotion, because we haven't seen very much emotion from this team through the first 4 games.
I think they will. I think they'll be fired up, and I think this will really help the fans in Colorado be fired up.
Avalanche, by the way, have a power play out of all this. 6-0 with 69 seconds to go. Back at the point for Kucherov. Over to Ozolinch. Ozolinch moving in on the backhand. Big stop. Vernon, another save. Mike Vernon shutting the door. And continuing Colorado's frustration. Couple big saves. That's as good as he's made tonight. And the fans left at JLA are on their feet for the goaltender. 19 saves in the game. Detroit's doubled the count in that category, 38-19.
Mike Vernon made his best save of the game when the score was 2-0. He did the Jacques Plante-like splits to make a key save at a key time. And now this is just gravy.
Countdown on here now. 6-0 for the Detroit Red Wings. And Mike Vernon, maybe one more test, and Ozolinch fans, Mike Vernon has his 5th career Stanley Cup shutout.
And Mike Vernon's being congratulated, but this Detroit team dominated from start to finish tonight. And Colorado when they're playing well, they control the puck, they skate. They're not being allowed to do that by this very good Detroit Red Wing team. And the best players on Detroit have been better, much better, than the best players on the Colorado Avalanche.
19 saves for Vernon, who has now beaten Patrick Roy 8 out of 15 times head-to-head. Larionov a pair, Maltby 2, Kozlov and Fedorov. 6-0 Detroit. The Avalanche on the brink.
Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. Brought to you by Molson Canadian.
Back at Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, the Red Wings win it in a romp. Tonight's Molson 3 stars, Martin Lapointe, Mike Vernon, and Kirk Maltby. So 3-1 the series lead for Detroit. We just checked with the Colorado Avalanche dressing room to see if Mark Crawford might want to give us an opinion on this. The Stanley Cup champions are clearly on the ropes, but Mark declined to do it now. Obviously, he's going to take some time to cool down with his team. Chris and John will throw it up to you, and if we have a chance, we'll get some word from either the winners' dressing room or here at the Colorado side.
John, they just announced that Game 6 would be Monday night, but based on what we've seen today, these fans may not see their Red Wings until the Stanley Cup final. Clearly, the defending champions have a lot of work to do.
Well, I would assume that Peter Forsberg will play a good game. Joe Sakic will play a good game. Patrick Waugh will be Patrick Waugh again. And the Colorado Avalanche will build, because you know their fans will be going crazy in Colorado watching the end of this game tonight. And I think the Colorado Avalanche will show us a much different look in Game 5.
Well, 226 penalties on the night, but it was the penalties early, the rash against Colorado in the first period, that had them really upset from the get-go. Igor Larionov with a goal less than 2 minutes into the game on the power play, and they never looked back after that.
Well, Colorado didn't get any bounces. Guserov's goal, Larionov's goal off Guserov's stick, and then the backhand shot from Larionov, the puck standing up. Detroit got all the bounces, but Colorado did not play very well. They didn't control, they wouldn't shoot it in, they didn't pass the puck like they can, they didn't skate like they can, and Detroit is playing as well as I've seen Detroit play all year.
Ron?
Well, fellas, you mentioned Mike Vernon's good run against Patrick Roy. He had the same success against Grant Fuhr, and we've seen a big playoff from here. Tomorrow night, of course, we're on the air from Madison Square Garden. Saturday night, 5:30 local time from Denver. For all of us, so long from Detroit.